So I'm about to show you the difference of how black people are treated by police versus white people. And we are in 2026. This shit is still happening. Hey, happy White History Month, by the way. Watch as these cracker ass, cave dwelling, Neanderthal, pale faced ass demons from the meth head, cracked out white suburban princess. Look at this shit.
You put your hands up. Oh, now you're going to jail for assault.
See, she walked her because this is white privilege at its finest. She walked her wannabe Britney Spears ass out onto the driveway, put her hands on a man, mind you. Now, if you'd have beat her ass, you know, he'd have been wrong. But suburban meth head princess thinks that she has, well, she knows she has privilege. That's why she acts the way she does. I love it when shit like this happens because it's showing you. Y'all the ones that have the privilege. Now you did this. Now she blaming it on a police officer. Because these are people that can't take accountability for shit. You just saw this crackhead, spoiled jar of mayo ass bitch commit the crime. What was the crime? Assault on her boyfriend. He probably found out their family secret, you know, that her dad been fucking her since she was 3 years old. Her mom's really a goat, half cow, named Bessie, and is really her dad's mom that he was fucking. That's the family secret. That they cave dwellers. They come from cave dwellers.
Black people can't get away with that.
At least he knew to pull the taser. At least he knew to pull the taser. How many times have we seen them motherfuckers pull just a straight gun when it's black people? Oh, they pulling a straight gun, ain't no taser. Shit, unless they pulling both. I read a story on the last video. Shit, they pulled the gun and the taser at the same time. He shot both. Shot him and tased him. One officer pulled both of his weapons, the gun and the taser. He tased him and shot him. And you got the fake ass bleach blonde bimbo out there. Then so you see the crimes just keep adding up, right? That's aggravated battery or assault against a police officer that she just did. But see, white folks, they don't care about the laws. They don't. They only use those talking points when it's us in trouble. Then they want to act like they're so patriotic. You know, they want to act like they're so lawful and law-abiding citizens. But look, this is what goes on in white suburbia. Besides the meth and the molestation of their own children. You should have shot that bitch in the white. You should have shot that bitch. You should have tased her. He had ample plan. Bitch, you want to stand in the way? I'm going to tase you too. I'm tasing you first.
On the ground, you're getting tased. Damn. Under arrest. She let her emotions get the best of her.
Look, she hit him too. She should go to jail too. This cave-dwelling Neanderthal ass bitch that's used to being dragged on her back by her badass bleach job burnt ass hair. Told you all them white hoes care about his titties. Look at her titties and then look at her legs. Just bad body. No ass. Flat as fuck. In the back. Oh, she's pregnant, so that means that she can put her hands on people, and that means that she can hit police officers, right? Because she's pregnant. Oh, she got pregnant by her own father, huh? Oh, okay.
My property now. Get out of my wheelchair. Now, this is a prime example for all the politics and all the people who always say, oh, America this, America that. Look, let me tell y'all something. This place ain't changed. You just seen them let this woman get away with all this in front of them. Hitting the man and resisting arrest and not abiding by.
Assaulting the police officer. He got assaulted twice by the mama and the daughter. Both their asses should be put to jail. And the fucking man in the red shirt, his ass need to be hog-tied.
The police, what they telling her at the time that she's committing this crime, right? Which is assault on her boyfriend for whatever reason. Bruh, this was black.
Her boyfriend found out the family secret. I'm telling you. Her dad been fucking her since she was 3 years old. Her mom is half goat, half horse, named Shitaro after Motaro.
Brown people, dog, we wouldn't have been able to go this far. This goes to show you this world has not changed in a way that we think it's changed. The mindset is still here. They will favor their own people. This girl is supposed to be locked up. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, but yet we have been shot for way smaller things than this.
Talking about shot? Shit. And they talking about pregnant. Shit, our women have been pregnant too. They not only hung them, they fucking cut the babies out their stomach, but she want to talk about something. She's pregnant. Bitch, fuck your daughter and her unborn pregnant child. Whatever the fuck she is. That fucking Scooby-Doo looking ass bitch.
All the things. So you see her doing this in front of the police presence. And he did not take the necessary action as he needed, right? Why you think that? I'm telling you, it's the skin complexion, the complexion for the connection.
It's not the skin complexion, brother. And see, this is where black people, they don't want to accept. He's a whole black person sitting up here with dreads in his hair and everything. Don't want to accept you are following the vow of Nazarite, which is written in number 6, that's speaking about your dreadlocks. You a whole child of Judah sitting up here talking about this is skin complexion. This is why we are in the predicament that we are in, because we only want to stay skin deep. We don't want to dive down into the blood, in the bloodlines.
He, in his mind, don't know who these people know. They probably know somebody that's important. That's how these white people rock. It's usually try to stick together. Oh yeah, do me a favor, I do you a favor, and different things like that. So this is why I feel they didn't handle the situation like they would have handled one of us. Yeah, I mean, they probably wouldn't even came for one. And if one of these black women would have been doing the same thing, oh, she would have definitely been arrested. She would have definitely been arrested, hog-tied, dragged to the ground, all that. You seen the mother stand in front of her daughter. When the fuck and how the fuck do they ever do that? Huh? Y'all shoot us for stuff like that. This shit crazy, bro.
So yeah, let's take a look. Black girl. Her mom is out there. The black mom is out there. Let's look at the same situation. Yeah, but it is three of them. This is in my hometown, Toledo, Ohio. And if you've seen my previous video, I told you about these motherfuckers in the Toledo Police Department. The Toledo Police Department ain't shit. It's just like Ferguson. It needs to be investigated. You already know how I feel. I hope all 3 of the officers in this video, I hope y'all kids die. I hope you get shot in the line of duty. I hope you die. I hope your kids die. Not saying I'm gonna do it, but if it happens, baby, I'm a congratulate. It was already a big thing that came out years ago talking about how these white officers, they often are hired to police the inner cities, but they don't even be living in the inner city. Didn't go to school in the inner city, have no connection to the inner city or the people. And this one on here with this little Casper friendly looking a ghost looking ass. Casper the friendly ghost looking ass. Just awful, man.
You don't want to answer
What is your badge number?
Like, what is his issue?
What is your...
I'm asking you. Get your hand out of your pocket.
Step back.
What is your badge number?
What is his issue?
I'll give you my badge
What's your badge number?
3018.
What is your badge number? What is your badge number? What is your badge number? What is your badge number, sir?
Stop. Don't do
She didn't even do the job. What the fuck? I am. Stop. What the fuck?
Get off of my fucking daughter! What is he doing to my daughter?
What the fuck?
Like, what is he doing?
Oh my God! Kevin, just put your hands behind
Back
your back.
up.
What the fuck? Kevin, put your hands behind your back. Why is he on back? I need to call
Back up.
I'm gonna fuck you up.
Back
I need to call
up.
my mom. I need to
What is your badge number, sir? What is your badge number?
All because this girl jaywalked. She was jaywalking. He probably getting off on this sick shit because that's the kind of people that they are with his bitch ass. I want him to know, man, you ain't shit without that badge. Neither 3 of y'all, none of y'all are shit without y'all badges. That's the only reason why black people don't beat the dog shit out y'all is because black people don't want to go to jail. But it's going to come a time. It's going to come a time, y'all, where we're going to have to be like, I guess we'll be going to jail. Because as you can see, they don't want to stop. They still want to do this shit. We can see clear as day. I'm showing you clear as day. I hope somebody do this to this man, to this police officer. I hope somebody do this to, if you have daughters, I hope somebody do your daughter like this. I hope somebody do your daughter like this. I hope somebody do your son like this. I hope somebody do you like this. That's why they keep these badges, because they know if they ever lose it, they move right out of state. Hoe ass.
You better back the fuck up before you go to jail.
What is your...
See, you better back the fuck up before you go to jail. Fuck you, you hunky ass cracker. Look at him. He look like a fucking cave dweller. Fucking Neanderthal ass demon. You a bitch. See, that's what they threaten because black folks don't be wanting to go to jail. But I'm telling you, we getting to a point in this country where it's going to have to be some sacrifices that need to be made. And guess what? Guess what? You don't want, remember, you want your LGBTQIA to check out, right? Yeah. Y'all want to be hateful to LGBTQIA, but it's oftentimes the LGBTQIA, the black ones, that's standing up for all of our rights, standing up for people who wouldn't give a fuck about us, who don't give a damn about us, our own people. And if you don't believe me, look at the 40 plus videos that I have in this damn playlist. standing up for people who would not give a fuck about me.
What is your problem? Calm down. What is your problem?
Record this. Back up. Move, motherfucker.
Mama, girl, why did
Record this. Record this. Record this. Back up. Otherwise, you're going to jail.
What is your badge number? What is your badge number? Stop! What the
Then he slam her on the ground again for what? Why do he keep slamming her
That's
on
because
the
you're being
ground?
disrespectful. Stop!
Kayla, stop. Oh my God, is y'all recording this?
Had his knee on her,
Oh my
on her
God.
face.
My baby is a girl. Oh my God. Back up. Is y'all recording this?
Yes, I got it.
Oh my
I don't
God.
know.
Fuck up.
I don't know, but you don't understand.
Y'all got
What
that
he
bad?
just did. What is his badge number? What is his badge number? What is his?
And now you bring your little pasty ass out there like you tough. These motherfuckers, man, I swear if y'all would just put down the badges for a day, bitch, they ain't gonna do that though. They wouldn't do that. This little pasty pale ass bitch right here, look at this little white toothpick. You are a toothpick. The only reason why anybody is backing up is because they don't want to go to jail. It's not because you're intimidating. You're not intimidating. Bitch ass. Fucking cave dweller Neanderthal ass. I can't stand these crackers. Like he tough. Bitch, you ain't tough. Can't even fucking yell.
Badge number. You don't put no fear in my heart. Fuck. The fuck is wrong with you?
What's your name there? No.
See, they still harass black people. The Toledo Police Department is horrible. I've talked about them on previous videos. This is the police department that needs to be investigated, just like Ferguson. I guarantee you're going to find all kind of racist shit because these three pigs, and now they're talking about he's been reassigned. No, he needs to be fired with his bitch ass. He needs to be fired. And more than that needs to happen to his cracker ass. Hoe ass bitch. You want to beat up on 15-year-old girls. Kind of man is you?
What is your badge number, sir?
Stop. Don't do
She
that.
didn't even do the job. What the?
Dan couldn't even really put... You know he weak as fuck. Look, did you just see that shit? He struggled to even get her down. Because he weak as fuck. He needs to be fired with his weak bitch hoe ass. Cracker ass bastard.
Well, that is the cell phone video sparking outrage and change in our community tonight. We've just learned that the Toledo police officer involved in that arrest is now being permanently removed from that particular neighborhood and reassigned as the investigation continues.
See, that's what they do. They reassign them. It's some shit that happened here. And a motherfucker killed somebody. And they just reassigned him. That's what they do here. And then you have all these white cracker motherfuckers sitting up. Well, what are we supposed to do about police? Well, don't call police. Bitch, we don't. Most of the time, we don't call the police. As you about to see here, these motherfuckers just pulled up on these girls as they were walking. Minors, mind you. But see, they only care about that shit when it's white children. If these children were white, you're infringing on their rights. They have rights. They're minors. They don't have to give you anything. But see, because they black, nobody cares. And that is why this country is in the turmoil that it's in right now. But y'all don't want to see it. Y'all don't want to see it. But that's okay. You gonna see it. You gonna see it. You gonna be forced. Because one day, it's gonna be some motherfucking shit that's gonna rock this motherfucking country. And then all your little bitch ass police departments, That's the day that all your little bitch ass police departments gonna be shaking in their boots. Because the whole motherfucking country is gonna be civil unrest. You got enough National Guards for the whole country? You got enough police officers for the whole country? I don't think you do. I don't think you do. But that's what's coming to this motherfucker. Because you white people, you want to keep doing shit like this. And so black people have been past tired. But I'm going to tell you like this with your bitch ass. We done served our motherfucking sentence. And this shit is over. Your control is over. It's over.
That word coming from the Toledo chapter of the NAACP tonight following its meeting with the mayor, the police chief, and other city leaders today.
Fire his ass. And to the motherfuckers, well, if we do this and we follow this protocol, we won't have any more officers. Well, oh motherfucking well then. Shit, y'all don't want to stop being racist. You don't want to stop having your biasness. Then oh well. Oh well. Hopefully black people will learn to stop robbing their own neighborhoods and start going out into Ottawa Hills and Sylvania and Oregon.
Tonight, the girl's mother is talking exclusively with 13 Action News reporter Alexis Means to share what she says she saw that day.
Well, the incident happened here on LaGrange in Austin. People are outraged. Many supporters say that police used excessive force when they arrested this young teenager, and many people are rallying around her as she faced the judge today. In court today, a 15-year-old girl denied every charge against her. She faces harassment with a bodily substance, resisting arrest, and obstruction, all stemming from a stop by Toledo police on Austin near LaGrange.
They ended up just charging her and pretty much throwing anything at the wall that they thought could stick.
It started when the teen, her brother, and two friends were...
That's what they do in Toledo. They harass black people. They harass the fuck out of black people.
Walking in the street when officers stopped them and began asking questions.
Maybe you guys have ID with you?
No, I mean, I have my school ID at home. I don't know.
You ladies live around here?
No.
All right, well, I need names. What's your last name?
Let me call my mom.
See, black people need to be smarter too. Need to be smarter. Need to know your rights. Sir, I'm a minor. Ask my mother. You should be talking to my mother. Where's your ID? Sir, I'm a minor. My mother has my ID. You should be talking to my mother, my parent. But y'all was smart, though, to pull that phone out and start recording. And that's something that we need to keep doing. People be talking about everybody pull out their stuff. No. We do need that action. We need that. To keep recording these pale-faced, devil-ass, demonic-ass demons.
What's your last name? You.
I don't know, understand the issue. Basically, we just walked.
First name.
The teen's mother says her daughter did not give her name to officers, believing officers had no right to stop the group. She called her mother, who rushed to the scene.
Daughter called me and said that they had been stopped by the police up the street. I was on the phone with her. I stayed on the phone with her until I got there.
What happened next is captured on cell phone video. The teen's mother says she watched an officer grab her daughter.
He has one of her hands in the back of her, and then the other hand is on the police car. And I never see her move. I never see her do nothing. And all of a sudden, he grabbed her by her hair and he yanked her down to the ground.
Video then shows once the teen was handcuffed, she allegedly spit on the officer. That's when the officer appears to slam her back to the ground while she was still in handcuffs.
I was there. I seen what he did to my daughter. period, point blank, and it did not warrant nothing that he did to her. He had his knee on my daughter's neck, and as a parent, I had to watch that, and I couldn't do nothing.
Toledo police released this statement to 13 Action News. Videos circulating online may show only part of an incident and not tell the full
Man, fuck y'all. No, it show everything it need to show. And why, and nobody told them why they were being pulled over. You heard them ask that, right? I don't understand what's the issue. We were basically just walking. So if you had we had a call in the area and it says a group of kids or something like that, you know, whatever bullshit y'all come up with. No, they weren't trying to tell them nothing because they was there to antagonize them. So fuck y'all. Talking about something we remind the public. No, bitch, you need to remind your motherfucking officers to stop harassing kids and stop harassing black people. That's what you need to remind your officers. Fucking whack-ass Toledo Police Department. I can't stand none of you motherfuckers. I hope all you motherfuckers die. I ain't gonna do it. I ain't making no threats. But baby, if I see it happen, baby, I'll be singing gladly. Fuck y'all.
Context of the interaction. But the teen's attorney says what is on video is hard to ignore.
She's 15 years old.
That's why they put that statement on, because what's on video is hard to ignore. Caught. Yeah, bitch, you're caught. Because see, that's why I'm doing these videos to show you. They're not used to hearing no from black people. They're still not used to that. So when they get told no, then you see automatically they're aggressive. If she did spit on you, bitch, she should have spit on your ugly cracker ass. Fucking pig face, pig blood having ass, bitch.
She was taken down, excessive force was used on her, and at this point, it's egregious what happened to her.
The attorney also says a key legal question that needs answered, whether officers even had the right to stop the group in the first place.
Exactly. What did you stop the group for in the first place? What was being done? And then you can't deny on video, you hear one of the kids asking, what is we being stopped for in the first place? They just out there to harass people. This is what the Toledo Police Department does with they bitch asses. I already told you the story about how when my aunt died, about how they showed up and instead of helping, quote unquote, no, they want to antagonize. That's why I don't give a fuck about none of them. Like I said, I hope all of y'all die. I don't care. Fuck you. I don't care. Fuck the Toledo police. They're one of the most horrible police departments in this country. Don't give a fuck, and they want to talk about some line of duty. Y'all the ones that's fucking creating the fucking atrocities in the line of duty because y'all fucking with people. You want to leave that part out, how y'all antagonize people.
Even had the right to stop the group in the first place.
She shouldn't have been treated like that. Later, we'll get into if they even had a right to stop her and detain her. That's going to be something that comes up as well.
The 15-year-old girl will head back to court on May 14th. Reporting in Toledo, Alexis Means. Now back to you.
This is a police department that will beat your ass, and then they will beat you until you're bleeding and then charge you with assault on a police officer because they beat you up and you got blood on their uniform. That didn't happen to me, by the way. I've never been arrested in Toledo. I don't, like, if you was to pull my record, I don't have a record in Toledo. Born and raised. Don't have a record there. Because I tried to steer clear away from the police. Because I already knew they were racist and they were biased. So, it is what it is. This is a horrible police department.
Community leaders have called what happened disturbing and traumatizing for the teen, and they're calling for an investigation into the arrest. City Council President Vanice Williams addressing the video on social media, saying in part, "This is not good community policing. I will be requesting a full investigation concerning this situation. It's not representative of all the work we as a community have been doing to build a working relationship with the police." And today she announced that she'll hold what she describes as an emergency meeting with City Council.
Yeah, it don't matter. They'll be the first to tear it down. They'll be the first to tear. You try to build something with them, they'll be the first to tear it down.
Tomorrow morning to further discuss the incident. And the Toledo chapter of the NAACP released a statement over the weekend saying no child should be subjected to excessive force. No parent should have to fear that a routine walk to the store could end in violence. Organization is calling for accountability, the release of the full body camera footage, and a review of police force policies related to minors.
We get back to New York, I tell Leora and Russell, I said, you know what? I don't think I want to do this shit if it ain't no money in it. Leora told me, he said, let me tell you something about the music shit, Rich. He said, this shit is all payola. He was like, I can make your grandmama the hottest bitch in the country. All I need is 6 months. He said,
my question to you people that sit up and be scrolling on Facebook and y'all come across these videos like this, right? You're diehard NBA fans, you're diehard NFL fans. You don't think it's the same way over here? How can you so readily see what he's talking about as the truth? You can see it on the left, but you can't see it on the right. I've been telling people for years that the NBA and the NFL is rigged. Now, I ain't one of them crazy ass people that think Steph Curry got magnets in his basketball and shit like that. No, but I think the refs are in on it. You know, I do. This whole Hollywood system, the whole system is fake. It's phony.
ain't none of this shit real. He said, the reason we telling you this because you a solid motherfucker. He said, so if you want to fuck around with it, it's good, but we just gonna let you know that ain't none of this shit real. The Seasoned Veteran album dropped. Let's Ride was the first single. That's back when the music box was out. When you used to watch the videos, you call and do the shit, right? Come on. Nigga, I'm sitting inside my mama house, Jack. The music box come on. They say, #1 debuting this week on the box. Let's Ride. I'm on. I'm like, nigga, I'm #1. I call Leora. I said, Leora, I'm #1 on the box. He said, I know, Richie, we bought the spot. Give me a minute, I'll call you back.
Ain't that some shit? Ain't that some shit? And you know, I've been telling you about that liar con man for a while now. He's going to have a very plush, luxurious spot in the lowest pit of Tartarus. He is. All the money that you have made off of the backs of the children of Israel with your fake, Jewish ass, you're going to see you are the goyim and you are going to be led into the slaughterhouse because you are a fake, Jewish, you know what?
That's how I go too, dog.
And when he said that, I didn't like it no more.
Yeah.
I didn't, because I really thought that
You worked your
people
way.
fuck with me because of what I did.
But you come from the authentic grind.
Right.
Yeah.
So I thought it was real, right? You know, when you listen to the...
But it is real, sir. It is real because your people, your fans love you. Your fans, when they sitting up riding to your music, I remember being in the car with my older brothers and, you know, them bumping Cube, Today Was a Good Day, and, you know, and all of this rap music and stuff that y'all fans, that was real.
radio, you hear niggas say, this LL Cool J, man, and whenever I'm in town, you know, I used to think that nigga was up there.
Nah, that's a drop.
So I go to the radio station, they showing this shit, they like, let's do some drops. Chewy Gomez in there. He like, Rich, can you do some drops for me? I'm like, what's drops? He said, just come over here and say X, Y, Z. So I get on there, I'll say some shit, I make a couple mistakes. I said, let me do it again. He said, don't worry about it. Edit, chop the shit I fucked up out, taped it back together, played my voice back perfectly. I said, oh, wow. So it's a piece of paper sitting on the thing. I said, what is that? He said, oh, that's today's playlist. So I grab it, and it's got the times and all the songs that's gonna come on. So I'm like, damn, so them niggas ain't really up here when I be hearing that shit. So it just was hella fake. It was a lot of fake shit going on, right? And it was fucking me up. It was fucking me up. So I take this piece of paper when I leave the station. I'm in the car. So I call this little chick, right? And it's like 4:30 and I got the list. I told her, I said, damn. I said, you listen to the radio? She said, yeah. I said, it'd be crazy if they play XYZ right now. And then that shit came on, right? Yeah. She said, it's on right now. It's on. It's on that you just said. I was like, no way. I said, let me turn it on. So we rolling. I'm talking shit, smoking. I'm high. I'm tripping now. Next song about to come on. I said, it'd be a fool if they play woo, woo, woo. That would come on. She said, you're betting 1,000. This shit's, they're playing it.
So, yeah, the music industry is fake. And they keep putting bullshit in front of you. That's how we ended up with this motherfucker.
Listen, we gotta look at the pattern here, man. You don't see the pattern? The Brooklyn Nets. He was the face of the team. We thought he owned the team. The coach thought he owned the team. Got him to 10 out.
But didn't Diddy do the same thing? Didn't Diddy do the same thing? Then motherfuckers was out here thinking that, you know, he owned Ciroc and all these different bunch of liquors and stuff, which is, I love Ciroc Red, by the way. I was an avid buyer because I thought he owned Ciroc and I was trying to support black business, you know, but then I like some, when I did drink, I haven't had a drink, baby, I can't tell you the last time I've had an piece of liquor, wine. I don't do that. I do not drink at all. But there was a time.
Half of Brooklyn to build the Barclays Center. Did y'all know he owned less than 1% of the team?
Right.
Ace of Spades liquor. He pushed it to the culture. Everybody took hold of it. Everybody popping bottles of Ace of Spades. Ace of Spades in videos. Ace of Spades in the club. They turned around and sold it. Sold half the company. Tidal, the big one. We got our own streaming service now. We got our own service now. We don't need to go over there. Had all the artists come to Tidal. Big artists, little artists. They all went to Tidal.
I never got involved with none of that shit. Never download, never went to the website, nothing. Because I always knew you can't trust nothing this nigga say. Like, you can't trust nothing he say. If he's there, you might as well go the opposite way. And I told y'all, I don't talk about him because of, you know, my love for Beyonce. You know, but it still don't matter, you know, because I'ma still speak the truth, you know, regardless. But yeah, man, this guy is, and Nicki Minaj, you know, she thinks she's doing something by going in trying to expose him, but it's like, girl, you took the same deal. You took the same deal. Like, that's how you know Sagittarius is crazy. Sagittarius will sit up and do the same shit, even worse, and then will turn to the right and try to condemn somebody else because they was more grimier than Sagittarius. What is that? Getting beat at your own game or getting beat out your own game. You know what y'all be saying. Yeah. See, that type of behavior that she is calling out, she does that same behavior. So it's okay when it's not being done to her.
Then he turned around and sold the company to a billionaire. Then the NFL. Colin Kaepernick took a knee. He said, boycott the NFL. We all stood behind boycott the NFL, boycott the NFL.
Nah, that's why I'm gonna have to stop you, brother. That's why I'm gonna have to stop you. It was good for maybe about 2 weeks. And they knew it too. And that's why they went and got him. And he talking about we're past kneeling or some shit he said. He's been showing you who he is for a long time. You know, black people so mesmerized by celebrities that, you know, we don't want to see that. It's often them that's been selling us out this whole time. The ones who, you got some of them that's real, some of them, but you know, the ones that are real, they ain't on this man's level. The ones that's real, they not on his level. You can't make it to his level and be quote unquote real. Nah.
You want to sign the deal with the NFL?
Right. And then slowly but surely, he ain't even a good player all like that anyway. Totally forgetting the cause. Y'all did Target worse than you did the NFL. Damn. Y'all did Target, black people. You did Target worse than you did the NFL. And the NFL, with the NFL situation, a life was actually taken. That cause of that was because of a black life that was taken. This Target shit was just, you know, the removal of some shit that wasn't benefiting us anyway. We also have to get our priorities in check too. We also have to get, not you, me, that includes me. Me. Need to get our priorities in check. Shit. Well, I don't know. I don't watch the NFL. And I don't watch the NBA. I don't watch it. I don't even watch TV. So, I still ain't seen the movie Sinners. I've never seen The Wire. Okay? I've never seen an episode of Power. No, I ain't gonna even hold you. It was this one though. I seen cause Mary was in there. You know, Mary. So that did get me because I just wanted to see what she was gonna be wearing. You know, because that's my girl. I love Mary. So I seen one episode. I ain't gonna even hold you. It was where he killed his lover in a shower or something like that. Yeah, I was like, oof, I do not need to be watching none of this. But the main thing is I never seen these TV shows and I don't be watching TV and sports and stuff like that. It's garbage.
All I'm asking is, check out the pattern. Who was he really for? We're going to talk about it more, though. It gets deeper.
Like, how would you feel if your brother just betrayed you for money?
Used to be my dog. You was in my left titty. You know, scream, ride or die. I thought you would die with me. You know, what happened was, you know, like I said, I had the crazy track record, Def Jam. Everything was good. You know, I go to do the 6th album. And, you know, Jay-Z became president. Yeah. You know, when he first got the job, he hit me with the call like, yo, dog, inmates is running the building like, yo, you good?
DMX consistently outsold Jay-Z until Jay-Z became the damn president of Def Jam Records. And he put DMX ass on the shelf.
Okay, I see what's really good. You're trying to eliminate the competition. You know, because at first you retire, you know, then get me off the label. Now you're back rapping again. Okay.
Listen, you ask anyone in the industry, it's a common knowledge that Jay ain't shit. You know what I'm saying?
All I gotta tell y'all is I told y'all in 2002, and y'all ain't believe me. I told y'all that nigga was a crab, and y'all ain't believe me.
He is not a counter to the system. He is a part of the system. He is fully enmeshed in the system. That's why he's a billionaire. Because he solidified a position with the ops. He is op funded.
and maintain.
We La Familia forever. He said that with Jazzo and all of them. So they really running with it. They living it. It's all illusion. You like, wait.
And he didn't give and Dame didn't give a fuck until he got cut off the deal. So, you know, yeah, I feel bad for, you know, everything that he went through, and, you know, as far as, because I know how it is to get stabbed in the back by a friend, by somebody you called a friend. But Aaliyah's blood is on somebody's hands.
What happened? I thought if one falls, we be each other crutches. And La Familia forever. And Bleak always be a millionaire for life. And what happened?
He is talented, but it's strictly motivated by money.
Black people are scary. It's hilarious to me because historically speaking, white people, you guys have been the most dangerous on the planet. You wiped out the Indians. You kidnapped.
Yeah, you sneeze on them. I mean, that's just crazy. You just sneezed and the whole fucking race of people died. That's just crazy.
You repressed us for 400 years. We get beat by the judicial system. We get beat by the cops. Cam Newton is a thug, but yet you've seen videos of him giving shoes and things away to people in wheelchairs. And he's got a great smile, the most least non-threatening dude ever. When it comes to that stigma, the black people are to be feared. That is the biggest hypocrisy on the planet. Historically, y'all have been the most dangerous on the planet. Black people ain't never hung nobody from trees, ain't never shot nobody with water hoses, ain't never sick dogs on them, ain't never don't screw white people through the judicial system, ain't never pillaged. Come on, man.
Everybody that made them little cringy ass videos talking about putting their AGSU jacket back on, talking about I'm just waiting for the call.
Right.
You can call them.
Right.
Ring, ring, ring. Pick up the fucking phone. Y'all ain't coming out here, man. Shut the fuck up with all that bullshit, man. They raised the age up to 42. My partner here, recruiter, I hit him up just to see how things going, because I'm thinking, man, y'all must be busy as fuck. He said it's slow as hell. He said it's the slowest it's ever been. He said it ain't been slower than this before. I said it's wartime. Don't you think people want to come out here and represent America? They said they did. They said they want to be right where I'm standing, defending the country. They don't look that way, do it? See deep. They don't look that way, do it? Nope. See deep down. Y'all doing that shit for likes. Y'all doing that shit for clickbait. Y'all doing that shit for whatever the fuck. But you ain't about it. You don't mean that shit. You ain't real like that. You don't stand on 10 toes like that. Sit your ass in the fucking house and let real soldiers handle the fucking business. And don't complain about shit. Just say thank you for your service when you see us.
Well, I'm praying for this brother. I am. And thank you, brother, for your service. You know, I just, yeah. Bring him home, Lord. Bring him home. What the fuck is this? They're going too far with this AI shit. What the fuck? Oh shit, people are starting to respond.
So I'm out here seeing that everybody is keyed up behind Trump putting himself as Jesus. This the same nigga that put his name on y'all Bible.
Right.
He put his name on your Bible. Hold on. There it is. The Trump Bible. Retail value $59.99.
If you bought this Bible, you're going to hell. If you bought this Bible in terms of not talking about this Bible like how I would talk about this version of the Bible, if you wouldn't condemn it, if you didn't buy it to make a video condemning it and then afterwards throw it away, something's wrong with you. you're going to hell.
You know, and sidebar, have you all noticed that ever since he has gotten into office and moved everybody out of the way who was stopping him the last time, and he has direct access to the coffers, he hasn't been selling shit. Not a raggedy ass watch, a wallet, them dumb ass shoes, no steaks, no water, no ugly ass planes, no fake ass education. He hasn't been selling shit because he doesn't have to go through you anymore to get your money. He can reach right into them government coffers and take all your shit.
Right.
And people are hold on. His people turning on him. Why you?
Don't turn now. Why are you turning now? It's too late. It's too late. It's too late for you to turn. Now you done voted for this man and now you're turning on him. See, you gonna cause your white Jesus. You gonna cause your white Jesus to have a trigger moment. You're gonna trigger your white Jesus. To my black people, you know, we know Jesus is black. We know Jesus is black. You gonna trigger your white Jesus because he gonna think of y'all and remember Judas and remember what Judas did to him, because y'all are being Judases to the person that you chose 3 times. You voted for him 3 times. 3 times a charm. 3 times mean you're strapped in there. You're on a highway to hell.
Turning on him now.
Right.
He sold you a Bible with his name on it.
Exactly.
And on the Bible, it said, hold on, let me let you get clear. On that Bible, it says, Donald J. Trump, 45th President of the United States of America, the day God intervened, July 13th. Do you want to know what that was?
That was the day that you agreed to go to hell with him. That was that day.
When he got that fake ass shot to the ear with that photo op. And do you want to know what happened on July 14th? You same motherfuckers who are mad about him posting himself as Jesus put maxi pads on your ears. Solidarity, you dumbass. And now y'all mad. Oh, I can't believe he did it. I can't believe you walked around with a fucking maxi pad on your ear. You know what? Please nope.
Let's see.
Donald Trump put this post on his Truth Social 1 hour ago. It's him as Jesus Christ. He's healing a sick man, wearing the robe like Jesus. Soldiers behind him are going to heaven. That should concern you. But this is my question to Christians, because I grew up in church. I probably know the Bible better than most of you. Went to church 3 times a week. I grew up in the heart of Bible country, the heart of God's country. Knock on doors on Saturday and do witness. Go to Sunday morning church, Sunday school. Go to Sunday afternoon church. Go to Wednesday afternoon church. Go to Thursday youth meeting. Go to Saturday band practice. Like, we churched. And I was taught since I was knee-high to a grasshopper that blaspheming God was the ultimate sin, the unforgivable sin. That's what most Christians believe, especially the Christians that believe that that Trump was chosen by God, because they believe that God saved him from a bullet in Butler, Pennsylvania, and chose him to be our president, which is ludicrous by itself, but they believe that. So the guy that you believe that God chose to be president, as if God chooses countries, is literally blaspheming God with this AI image of him as Jesus. The same guy that when somebody asked him, have you ever asked God for forgiveness? He said, I don't think I've ever done anything that I would need to ask for forgiveness for, which basically means no. He's never asked God for forgiveness because he thinks he's better than God. And here he thinks he is God. Now, so my question to the entire Christian nationalist movement, is he your God-appointed leader, or is he the Antichrist? Now, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in the Bible. You do. I think I know the Bible better than you do, but I think that you know exactly what I'm talking about. In the Bible, Peter denied God 3 times, and God said, you'll deny me 3 times before the rooster crows.
Wait, no. Peter denied Christ 3 times. Christ is not God. Christ is the Son of God. Christ is our Redeemer, and we are indebted to Christ, yes. But Christ will even tell you, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. But he will also tell you that there's only one that's perfect and good, and that's the Father. So Peter denied Christ 3 times.
How many times are you going to let this guy make a mockery of your God before the rooster crows? Most importantly, before he flushes this entire fucking country and our entire population and probably dragging the world down with him down the fucking toilet while you pretend he was handpicked by God. Hey,
it's too late.
AGA, let's put our differences aside.
It's too late.
It's time for you to get on board with us. Article 2, Section 4, him and the whole lot of them gotta go.
Yeah, Jolly, you know I love you, buddy. But it's too late. It's too late. Even if we wanted to, like, come together, I liken this to a coal mine, and you know those roller coaster, those little baskets. Well, just imagine one of them full of coal, and it's about to go down the hill. You think you're gonna be able to stop it? That's where we at right now. We're going down the hill. It's too late. Wow, what a way to tell him his future. Wow. I'm only gonna play a little bit of this because I just thought that it was just so crazy that I saw a black hand with a gavel. And I just was like, wow. So everybody must know that God is black. You know, it's just crazy.
If God sends me to hell, if God sends me to hell.
Look at that hand. I saw that. I was like, wow. I saw that. I was like, wow. Symbolism is everything. Symbolism is everything. For those who have eyes, let them see. And for those who have ears, let them hear.
If God sends me to hell, I have a plan to make sure that I get into heaven. They say there's lots of levels to hell. So in terms of levels, you want to be sent to the worst level. And a lot of people would say, why do you want to be sent to the worst level? Because the worst level is where all of the best lawyers are. And believe me, I know them all. These are the worst lawyers in terms of hell, but they're the best lawyers.
I wonder how do lawyers feel? Because, you know, just about every damn body say that y'all are going to hell. I mean, I know you've seen The Devil's Advocate. I know we saw that, right? I'm just saying.
In terms of Earth, and it's going to be so easy to find. You know, as soon as you get there, you plop down, you probably burn your feet, it's so hot down there. But you're going to find lawyers, they're going to be right next to you, there's a lawyer. And we will hit God so hard, we'll sue him so hard like he's never been sued before. We will sue for eternity in heaven for all of us, and he's going to have to settle. I'll pull God to the side, I'll say, listen, you...
Well, Dump, good luck with that. Look, even the image of the Most High. Because you know this is the image of the Most High. Everybody want to laugh and snicker and joke. It's not going to be funny on Judgment Day. When you see this image, when this hair that looks like wool, you see this black face, it's not going to be funny. But like I said, good luck with that.
The craziest part about all of this is that Americans will go right back to voting Republican when this is all over, says this person. Can I say something about this without everybody getting mad? American voters in the modern era treat the Republican presidents as the default. All else being equal, that's who runs the country. If there's some sort of weird crisis or something, then they will put in a Democrat, almost as if they are punishing the Republican. This has been true at least all through my lifetime. I'm going to explain how it works, but again, you have to promise not to shoot the messenger. I am not the one who made this happen. I'm just telling you about it. So, for example, in my youth, I grew up under 12 straight years of Republican presidents, Ronald Reagan and then George Bush Sr. But in 1992, there was a massive recession. And I watched the voters say, okay, Republicans, you go into timeout, you go stand in the corner. Bill Clinton, you're in office now. He was president for 8 years. During that time, there were no big wars or depressions. So you might think that the voters would say, okay, let's just stay the course with that. But they didn't. That's not how it works. When the voters perceive that equilibrium has been restored, then they go back to the default. That's the Republicans and George W. Bush. He served for 8 years, but then there was the 2008 financial crisis. So America says, go back into timeout. Here's Barack Obama. He serves for 8 years, and once again, a casual observer might say, okay, well, why wouldn't you just stay the course with this? Why couldn't a successor in his own party say, look, I'm going to keep things normal the way they are now? Instead, Americans say, oh, things are back to normal? Okay, it's just a matter now of figuring out which Republican we're going to give it to. So you get 4 years of Trump, but in 2020, oh, we've got a pandemic, here's another crisis. The reason for this is that in the middle of the country, you have a large number of people who aren't super into politics either way. This is a group I'm just going to call the normies. And culturally, the normies tilt to the right. People get extremely angry when you point this out, but it's just factually true. You can look at everything from polls to how they vote to how they live their lives. For example, statistically, overwhelmingly, they drive cars, and these days most of them drive larger cars, either SUVs or crossovers or pickup trucks. If you hear a public figure ranting about how this is bad for the environment, do you think that's going to be a Republican or a Democrat? And there's a bunch of issues like this. Statistically, 80% of America still says they believe in God. Which party do you think they perceive as being friendlier to that? Statistically, this group of voters also likes and respects the military and the police. Again, if you don't believe the polls, look at the TV shows they watch. Look at how they vote in elections where one of these things are going to be defunded. Which party do you think they see as being friendlier to this? Now, obviously, none of this makes what they're saying right. I'm just saying that is how they feel. Overwhelmingly, they like and trust Amazon as a corporation. And this is the big one. Overwhelmingly, they say they are satisfied with how their own lives are going. Most of them say they like their jobs. Most of them say they like their bosses. And overwhelmingly, they like America. They will tell pollsters when they are concerned about the direction the country is going, but it's always because they want to preserve the country. There are not masses of American normies on the northern border trying to escape into Canada. So when the normies hear somebody say that America is an evil country built by slaves on stolen land, do you think that's going to be a Republican or a Democrat? They hear a celebrity saying that meat is murder or that it's bad for the environment. Do you think that celebrity is going to be on the left or the right? None of this should be new information to anybody who has lived in the United States for very long. The normies in the middle will not stick with this if things get too crazy. But the key is they don't want things to get too crazy in either direction. They are largely happy and satisfied with their own lives. So yeah, in the country right now, there's about to be a massive backlash against Trump and his party. But that backlash is always temporary.
He didn't lie. Like, no matter how they just, and see, he's still telling this from a white perspective. See, these normies that he's talking about, these are still white people, the majority of them. And so when they talking about preserve the country, they mean, yeah, don't let it get too black. That's why they get mad. See, them fucking normies, I'm telling you about them motherfuckers. Them is the motherfuckers, yeah, they get mad because they don't want you to see them as, you know, the like the right. You know, so they hate to get compared to the right. But no, they are. You are. To me, you ain't normies. You have to listen to key phrases. Preserve the country. AKA make America great again. But guess what? No matter how you try to preserve this bitch, it's over. It's over. It's just a matter of time. And you'll get mad listening to this video. But trust me, the motherfucking pedophiles that you voted for, those closeted DL white men that like to put on titties that you voted for, them white men that be who come from an ancestral family that eat people but want to talk about Haitians as eating cats, them motherfuckers that you voted for, they have went so far to deteriorate the system of white supremacy that they were trying to uphold. This is going to be like the Most High and Pharaoh. That's what's going on here.
America is walking into the same trap that killed the Soviet Union. And nobody is stopping it. The Gulf is funding its own funeral. And Washington is handing out the shovels. We are watching the biggest geopolitical trap in modern history being set in real time. Almost nobody is connecting the dots. They are selling you a victory story. We are going to show you it is a collapse story. One that does not just end Iran. It ends the Middle East. It ends America. And then, quietly, slowly, it ends the world too.
Why? So all power can go back to the EU. So they can have power with the beast for 1 hour.
It's like the USSR, except this time nobody sees it coming. Here we are. The story behind the story. Let us go. Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Bahrain. These nations are not just watching this war, they are enabling it. Open airspace, shared intelligence, American boots on their soil, green light given. But here is the question nobody is asking them directly. Do you even know whose land you're standing on? In 1982, an Israeli government-linked strategist named Oded Yinon published a documented plan through the World Zionist Organization. Its core objective: Israel must reconfigure its geopolitical environment through the fragmentation of surrounding Arab states into smaller and weaker states. The founding father of Zionism, Theodor Herzl, stated in his own diaries that the area of the Jewish state stretches from the Brook of Egypt to the Euphrates. Rabbi Fishman declared before the United Nations in 1947 that the Promised Land extends from the River of Egypt up to the Euphrates, including parts of Syria and Lebanon. That map covers Saudi Arabia, Jordan, parts of UAE, Iraq, Syria, all of it. And now look at what has already happened. Lebanon hollowed out. Iraq shattered. Syria bled dry. Libya erased. Yemen permanently destabilized. General Wesley Clark, a four-star American general, openly stated after 9/11 that the Pentagon planned to destroy 7 countries in 5 years: Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Iran. Iran is the last one on that list. America is the military arm making this possible. Remove Iran, the last serious military resistance in the region, and the path is wide open. The Gulf monarchies cheering this war are not allies in this plan. They are the next phase. They just do not know it yet. And they cannot even protect themselves today. When Houthi drones penetrated Saudi air defenses, Riyadh panicked. When America exits, nobody protects them. Nobody. Now, while America is locked into the Middle East,
China is not sleeping. Taiwan produces over 90% of the world's advanced semiconductors. Every AI system, every fighter jet, every smartphone, every car, every military guidance system, built on Taiwanese chips. America gets trapped in Iran. China moves on Taiwan. Semiconductor supply stops. Global tech economy freezes. 2 wars, 2 fronts. 1 civilizational disruption, and the economic numbers inside America are already screaming before a single bomb drops on Iran. In 2025 alone, over 1 million Americans lost their jobs. That number is 65% higher than the same period in 2024. In tech alone, over 127,000 workers were cut in 2025. In March 2025 alone, 275,240 job cuts in a single month. The 3rd highest monthly total ever recorded in American history. The only months worse were during a global pandemic. America is bleeding jobs at pandemic speed, without a pandemic. Now, let us talk about what is left inside America when the war hits. The petrodollar dies. The moment Gulf nations trade oil in yuan, America loses the ability to print money without consequences. And $39 trillion in debt, nearly $114,000 per every American citizen, becomes unsurvivable. Corporations follow the money out, more layoffs, more hollowed-out cities. And what does the average American eat while all this unfolds? Approximately 70% of the American diet now consists of processed foods. 1 out of every 4 Americans eats fast food every single day. American adults get 53% of their daily calories from ultra-processed foods. American children, 62%. 73% of the food on American supermarket shelves is ultra-processed. A nation cannot sustain a major war when its own population is running on synthetic food, and its army of workers is being laid off by the millions. This is not a food statistic. This is a national collapse statistic. And the gold. Fort Knox has not had a full independent audit since the 1950s. In a world where the banking class controls the financial system, do we honestly believe that gold is still sitting there, untouched? Here is your history lesson, fast and sharp. The Soviet Union did not fall because someone beat it on a battlefield. It collapsed from overextension, too many wars, too much spending, a currency that could not hold, an empire that believed its own propaganda until the moment it ceased to exist. Afghanistan was the accelerant, one unwinnable war. Within 10 years, the USSR was gone. America, Afghanistan, 20 years. Iraq, trillions spent. Libya, Syria. Now, Iran. Every failed war tightens the noose. So let us draw the final picture. Iran falls. Last obstacle to Greater Israel removed. American bases gone, Venezuela oil captured, but economically unstable and decades away from full production. OPEC controls 80% of world reserves. Petrodollar collapses. Taiwan taken. Semiconductors cut. 1 million Americans already jobless. 70% eating processed food. Gold unaccounted for. 39 trillion in debt detonates. And the Gulf monarchies who made it all possible, they will look around at the ruins and realize too late their land was in the promised land all along. This is not a conspiracy. This is documented strategy meeting verified economic data. Here we are connecting the dots they do not want connected. Share this right now. Someone in your circle needs to see this today.
All right, real quick. Where does the word Caucasian come from? It's a name that the Europeans gave themselves. They call themselves Caucasians. What does Caucasian mean? It means a cave dweller, one who dwells in the cave. So Caucasian, the Europeans know. They know their origin. They know where they come from. And their origin is even marked in the Bible, in the book of Job. Watch this. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, right? Job is speaking of how the so-called white man had him in derision, right? Whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock, right? Job said, I wouldn't even have their fathers sit with their highest so-called kings or whatever, sit with my dogs, right? They're a base nation, right? Yea, whereto might the strength of their hands profit me, in whom old age was perished, right? For want and famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness, in former time, desolate and waste. Who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat. They used to eat the plants and cut up roots and stuff like that for food, right? They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief. This is how the children of Israel chased these men. They chased them away like thieves. Like, because they were just, when you say base nation, these people actually, like, they would pick bugs and stuff out of each other's beards and stuff. They lived in caves around bat droppings and guano. Imagine the things that they were going through, right? So Job is trying to give you a clear vision of the mannerisms of these people, right? They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief, to dwell in the cliffs of the valleys, in caves of the earth, and in the rocks. That's who the so-called Caucasian white man is. So Europeans do have a clear vision of their history. They do know who they are. So, like, when you tell like a lot of white men, you normally come from caves. This is your origin. Like, this is where you guys came from in the 1400s and took over. They called it the Renaissance era. That means it was the rebirth era. Renaissance. Rebirth of what? It was the rebirth of the white man. That's when whites came out of them caves. They went to war with everyone and they took over. And that's a blessing that God gave them, though. They had a gift of war. When Jacob and Esau, the first white man that's recorded being born in the book of Genesis 25, came from a black mother and a black father, right? So Jacob's blessing was the kingdom when Christ returns, right? To those who keep in God's commandments as Israelites. And Esau cried to his father, don't I get a blessing? And he told him what his blessing was. His blessing would be the dew of the earth. He would have all the best places on earth to live. This is his future prophet. This was his blessing. And he would gain it by war, by the sword. And that's why you see white men, they run the world when it comes to missiles and bombs. And that was a gift from God. But the so-called black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian, and we get the gift of heaven if we can keep God's commandments as the Israelites.
One of the worst of the black Hebrew Israelite lies is the idea that Esau, so Jacob's older twin brother and the son of Isaac and Rebekah, that Esau was somehow white, and that white people today are descendants of Esau, also known as Edom.
You are descendants of Esau. You're not white, you're red. That's what y'all call yourself. But now let's get two scholars that was in the 1800s. Your people, right? The Roman Empire, the empire of the Edomite, 1853. The Romans came from Esau, who is Edom. Dictionary of the Bible. This is in the 1800s. Italy and Greece and all the Western province became filled with Idumeans. Thus it is that the prophets called the whole of that nation by the name of Edom. You still here. Genesis 25:23. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb. 25. And the first came out red. If it ain't the so-called Caucasian, then please tell me who is it. Alright, Obadiah verse 3. The pride of thy heart have deceived thee. We know they prophet. Thou that's dwelling in the cleft of the rocks. Caucasians. That's where the name came from. These facts is not hating. Verse 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, what's on the back of the dollar bill? And though thou set thy nest among the stars, wait a minute, who landed on the moon and said what? Esau landed on the moon and said the eagle has landed. All right, Malachi verse 1, let's get who Esau or Edom is, everybody. At the bottom, the border of wickedness and the people against whom the Lord have indignation forever. People, everybody. Romans 9:21, have not the potter power over the clay of the same lump to make one vessel to honor and another to dishonor. Jacob, Esau, what if God willing to show his wrath and to make his power known and do it with much long suffering, the vessel of wrath fitted for destruction? Esau was made for destruction. 2 Thessalonians 2, verse 3. Let no man deceive you. Why? That man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Esau shall be revealed. He is the son of destruction. Esau. Why we can't see him? Why he got to be revealed? Let's see why he got to be revealed. Verse 4. Who opposed and exalted himself above all that is called God, or that is worship. Oh, we worship him in Christianity. That's their doctrines. Then they got Christ painted after Caesar Borgia, so that he is God and sitting in the temple of God, showed himself that he is God. There he is. Verse 8. And then shall the wicked be revealed. How is it going to be revealed? Whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. Why? Because we can read through God's eyes now, rather than what they taught us in slavery. Even him whom the coming is after the working of Satan, meaning Esau, with all power and signs of wonders. That's how he got his technology, his bombs. Verse 10. And with all deceivableness of unrighteous Christianity, different branches, in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved, that we must keep God's commandments, and we the Israelites. Shalom.
To me, this just proves that y'all don't listen, and you probably don't even listen to your wives. You probably don't even listen to them at home. This man sat up and told y'all he wasn't a Christian. He told you he wasn't a Christian. He told you he didn't think he was going to get into heaven. He told you he didn't think that he had anything to be sorry for. He told you he didn't think he had anything he needed to repent for. He told you he wasn't a Christian. I mean, y'all not Christians either, but I don't know what's so disgusting. This is disgusting, not him participating in the Epstein files. That's not disgusting. All the promises he made and didn't keep, that's not disgusting. Y'all voted for this man 3 times. 3 times. And you really think that you're a Christian. That's the crazy part. These men think that they are quote unquote Christians in the biblical sense. And I know I rag on Christians because the disciples were not Christians. And Christ was not a Christian. But Christians are supposed to be followers of Christ. And these people are far from Christ. Just like their leader.
Show you an image that President Trump posted on his Truth Social yesterday. What do you make of this?
Personally, it's disgusting. I talked with my wife about it earlier. I mean, Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, and that right there is, I mean, I don't really have words for that. That's just.
So it means that you talking about Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. You have no spiritual discernment. That's what that means. You have no spiritual discernment. These are the same men you're going to see, this Vinnie Richards. When he sees that Christ is black, when he sees that, he's going to shit his pants. This is somebody that think they know so much. Couldn't even see that the man that they voted for was of this level of a blasphemer. And now it's, oh, no, that's not me. That's not me, even though I voted for this person. That's not me. Vinny, I cannot wait until you stand in judgment. I can't wait. Because you ain't going to be able to pull that shit then. You ain't going to be able to pull that shit there in judgment. Oh, no, I'm not with that. Even though I voted to get that in office. Oh, no, I'm not. That's not me. I have nothing to do with that. You ain't going to be able to say that on Judgment Day, Vinny. And the problem is, ain't nobody telling you this to your face. Nobody's telling you this. Vinnie Richards, elevator technician, you are going to burn in hell. You and your wife, y'all going to burn in hell. You joined this man. Hand in hand. You voted for this man. You voted for him. You put him in office for him to be able to bomb that school over there with those girls and young boys in it. You and your people, you are guilty of that. You are responsible for that. You are not going to be able to stand in judgment and say, oh no, it was my ancestors. I didn't have anything to do with that. And that bullshit that y'all speak. Talking about Jesus is your Lord. You are going to be part of the crowd when he says, I never knew you. I never knew you, Vinny Richards. I never knew you. You want to know why? Because you come from your progenitor, Esau. Your father was a murderer from the beginning.
Disgusting.
That's a disgrace.
It's disgusting, and it's a disgrace that you would vote for a 34 convicted felon. It's a disgrace that you would vote for a man that said, yeah, grab him by the pussy. It's a disgrace. Y'all are on the same level. I believe that both of you are pedophiles, just like him. You voted for it. You seen it. It was all fun and games in the beginning, huh? It looks like you missed the lesson on sin. It looks like you missed the lesson. That's what it looks like. It looks like you missed the lesson. See, sin, it starts off fun. Oh, yeah. It's a whole new world. A new and exciting place. But it's fun. It's fun. It's like being on the beach, being knee deep in the water. And the water is sin, right? And all of a sudden, you get into a rip tide or a tide, and it drag you all the way out past the buoy. Past the buoy. You know you in some deep water. It's not fun no more. And that's where y'all are at. That's where y'all are at. And guess what? Guess what? Y'all sit up here and talk this, oh, we need to work this shit out. We need to come together. Fuck y'all. Don't nobody want to come together with no Judases. That's what you are, Vinny, Richards, John North. You are a Judas. That's what you are. You're a coward. You are a Judas. Because now that your boy, your homie, your pal, your ace boom coon, yeah, the man. Now that your man is down and out, you running. Now that he back is against the wall. He in the corner. They putting a pause on him. All he could do is block. They hitting him with body shots, uppercut, jab, body shot, and all he can do is block. He in the corner. Then he glimpse over and notice, y'all walking away. Y'all some Judases. Your ancestors is rolling over in their graves. Y'all leaving now. Y'all just like them niggas that showed up to Junior's bachelor party. When Junior got a little crazy with Ebony. Now y'all, where everybody going? I'm like Ronnie. Where everybody going? Where everybody going? Oh, I get it. So, this is the point where somebody gonna tell me, we know that Ebony, tell Ebony next time no means no. Whatever Cube said. That's my movie too. But no, where y'all going? Where you going? Where you going? Where you going? The party is just beginning. Where you going? The party is just beginning. And you ready to leave? John North, you ready to leave? Not your name, John. You can't be a John. Johns stand 10 toes down. Johns are loyal. You not loyal. You voted for him. You voted for him. And now you ready to walk away. You a Judas. You should change your name to Judas. You are a disgrace. You, John North, are a disgrace. You don't deserve the name John. You are no longer... I've met with all the other fucking Johns, and we are kicking you out. We are kicking you out. We are sifting through the Johns. This is a case-by-case basis, because damn it, I'm the head John, and I'm going to get to the bottom of this motherfucking shit. As sure as my zodiac sign is a Cancer, I'm going to investigate and get to the bottom of this motherfucking shit. Everybody named John that voted for this dump, diaper-wearing motherfucker, you gots to go. Change your name. You are no longer John. You are not welcome amongst the Johns.
I'm very upset about that.
And give us back our sunglasses. You no longer are allowed to look cool and have the name John. See, you have the perfect name, John North. I can't even hold him. The name sound cold. Just like my name. The name sounds cold. John North. See, you know when it's not the North, it's not the Wick. It's the John. That's what it is. It's the John. Thank you. It's the John. But you, sir, you have lost the privilege. You've lost the privilege to be called John. Give us back our glasses. Give us back our swag, our because he has the whole, because I'm like that too. I'm solo, I'm cool. I be by myself. Kind of like a Batman or a gay Batman, whatever. This isn't about me. This is about him. Know what the fuck be wrong with me, man. But anyway, John North. I can't believe you. You were supposed to have more sense than this. Okay? You were supposed to have more sense than this, man. And please, I don't want to stare down the brink of you voting for this man 3 times. I don't want to hear that shit. Because if you voted for this man 3 times, you definitely need to change your name. Because Johns are not that stupid. Johns are not that stupid. So you have to change your name. You keep the last name North. You know, you just want to become North, that's fine. I don't care. The name John has, we have to part ways. So.
I mean, how egotistical can you possibly be?
As a Christian, how do you feel when you see this image?
Offended?
Yeah, you should be. You should be offended. You should have been offended. I just can't believe, where's your Johnny senses, man? Where's your Johnny senses? You know, Spider-Man has Spidey senses. Johns have Johnny senses. We all have them. Some Johns just do not fucking use them. Why? I don't know. But you should be offended. Because your name is John and you voted for this trash.
Yeah, I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed that he would actually do that. The man I voted for and trust.
Why would you trust him? Why would you trust him? Why would you trust somebody that... And I'll tell you what, John. Would you trust... Okay, think about it like this. Would you trust anybody else that has 34 fucking felonies? Would you trust anybody else? And me and you both know, sure as our name is John, and sure as I wouldn't, I know you wouldn't either. So why the fuck would you trust him? 34, not just one, not just two. Oh no. 34 of those bitches. 34.
You know what I'm saying? People are going to see this at work.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. They're going to see this. And guess who else saw it? The group of Johns. We saw it. You've embarrassed us. You have embarrassed us. We came together last night. We had a meeting. You left us no choice. Now, I fought for you. I did. Because they wanted to get rid of your last name too. They wanted to take your last name. I said, no, Johns, we cannot do that. We cannot do that to him. We, leave him with the name North, because that is his name. That's his last name. You can't take a man's last name. You can't. From him. It's his granddaddy's name, his dad's name. It's got his granddaddy's blood on it. Just like what over here with Ike Turner. Okay, so. But they wanted, I'm letting you know, they wanted to take your last name too. But I fought for you. Even though you voted against my interests, I still fought for you as a parting gift to let you know ain't no beef. Ain't no beef. You just can't believe that you would be this dumb. Yeah, me, John Wick, we all got on the phone. All of us. Travolta was there. All the iconic Johns. Kennedy. He's really pissed. Kennedy is really pissed.
I'm upset about it.
As a Christian, what do you make of this?
I find it appalling. It's disgusting. You're mocking my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. He's mocking it. I don't agree.
He's only your savior until you find out he's black. And you'll walk away from him too, because you already Judas, your leader. You Judased him. So why wouldn't you Judas Jesus? Why wouldn't you be a Judas to him when you find out he's black? I mean, you found out your leader has a God complex. And you're ready to walk away from him. When you find out your Savior, your Lord and Savior is a black man, you be ready to walk away from him, huh? You're just walking away, huh? Guess your boots was made for walking, huh? That's just what you'll do. When one of those days you gonna find those boots have walked you into some poo.
With it. I think he should put his phone down and focus on running the country.
Why would he do that with the whole Antichrist thing? You know what I mean? Like, it makes no sense to me. He's probably regretting that he posted that and he deleted it.
What do you make of this image?
I think it's interesting.
Ooh, what's interesting is the teeth, or the lack of, that he have in his mouth. I didn't even see white. I saw yellow and brown.
I mean, listen, hey, I'll be the first one to say, like, I don't agree with maybe everything that he says or does.
I did post it, and I thought it was me as a doctor.
Man, I'm 44 years old, bro. That's not a doctor. That's him depicting himself as Jesus Christ. That is blasphemy in its purest form, in my opinion.
No, I don't see that.
Well, he's just like you. Now that there's backlash, he's backing away, just like you're backing away from him, right? See how y'all just alike? Y'all are just alike. Even when you try to get away from him, you're still just alike. And that's a cute little baby that she's holding. Too bad she's going to probably take him home and cook him and eat him. Because you know that's what y'all do.
Doctor.
Does that look like a doctor?
I mean, I believe that he thinks he heals people, that he heals people together.
Yeah, doesn't look like it to me, but I don't know.
I want to show.
See, what you need to understand is, I've been telling y'all this. These are not the original people that walked out of Egypt with Moses. They came later. And these, you hear all like through, like the Bible and, you know, even in Christian studies, it's this talk about putting a hedge around God's law. Well, what the Most High was talking about were these people. They came with their quote-unquote Talmud and their Kabbalah. That's Jewish mysticism. And it's sorcery, high witchcraft. And they have rituals in there. They have beliefs in there. These are like addendums to the Most High's law. And if you know the scriptures, you know that's blasphemy. God never gave anybody the authority to add to his law or take from it. None of the scriptures. That's why the Catholic Church is going to be condemned as well, because they're responsible, not King James. The Catholic Church is responsible for removing books, changing dates, changing times, right along with these Jewish people. They have rules in their books, in their laws, that say that they can have sex with young boys. But when they hit puberty, they have to stop. That's their belief. That's their culture. They suck on baby nuts. And they'll say, oh, no, that's the ultra orthodox. Bullshit. And it ain't too ultra if New York had to ban the practice. New York had to ban it because they was passing herpes and killing babies. I've shown the evidence on multiple videos throughout my videos. This is why. This is why you can go back to Israel. This is the real pipeline that y'all need to be looking at.
Investigation has uncovered a loophole that allows accused and convicted American pedophiles to escape justice by moving to Israel. A CBS News investigation has uncovered a loophole that allows accused and convicted American pedophiles to escape justice by moving to Israel. So Ian Lee has been following this for more than a year, and he traveled to Israel for this investigation. He worked with a group that tracks people accused of sex crimes, which estimates dozens of Americans have used this loophole.
Oh, he's 6'2". We are on a stakeout looking for this man, Jimmy Julius Caro.
48 years old and wanted on charges of sexually assaulting a 9-year-old girl in Oregon back in 2000 and a 5-year-old girl in Israel in 2001. He's considered dangerous. But these photos are a few years old, so we don't know if he'll look the same. He remains elusive. Previous attempts to capture him have failed. Anna Aronson got a tip that Caro's expected at this clinic near Tel Aviv.
Who's going to call the
She's with
police?
JCW, Jewish Community Watch, an organization that hunts down accused pedophiles who flee to Israel from the U.S., exploiting a process called Law of Return, whereby any Jewish person can move to Israel and automatically gain citizenship. The ease with which pedophiles seem able to use this law as an escape route haunts victims like Mendy Hawk,
I was 8 and
who says he was abused from age 8 by a teacher at an Orthodox Jewish school in Los Angeles.
So your classroom is right here. How does it feel being back? I was very anxious and, stressed coming back here. A lot of memories coming through my mind.
Memories of his alleged abuser, Mordechai Yom Tov, who taught him Hebrew studies when he was just 8 years old.
So in the beginning, he would just rub me outside of my pants, and then I would say about 3 or 4 months later, he started going in.
Reaching down your pants?
Yeah, it's reaching down.
Why did you feel like you couldn't tell anyone?
I was scared. I was ashamed. I just didn't know what people would think of me with the whole situation.
Yom Tov pled guilty in 2002 to sexually abusing and committing lewd acts against 3 other boys. He served jail time, but when he was released, he violated his probation and, according to JCW, fled to Israel with help from individuals within the Orthodox Jewish community. JCW tracked Yom Tov down and confronted him with a hidden camera in Jerusalem, where he admitted to illegally fleeing the United States with help and using a fake passport to enter Israel.
I was supposed to stay for 5 years in the same city. I was supposed to, I was supposed to drive you to the police station. I left within a week later.
He had this message for his victims.
I'm very sorry.
The other person in this video is Mayor Seawald, the founder of Jewish Community Watch. He tells CBS News Yom Tov's case isn't uncommon in the Orthodox community.
The same thing that's going on in the Catholic Church right now around the world, the exact same thing happens in our community. The rabbis say it's, you know what, he promised he's going to go for therapy, he's never going to do it again. Boom, he's in another community. A few years later, he's at the same thing, and we hear more allegations that the person continued to abuse children.
And often, those abusers end up in Israel. Rabbi Yehuda Oppenheimer says he unwittingly helped Caro escape.
I felt that I could trust him. So I wrote him a letter, and he bought a ticket, and he left.
Caro is accused of abusing more children when he got to Israel.
What was that like for you when you found that out? Punch to the gut. It was very painful.
Rabbi Oppenheimer says the reason he came forward is to shine a light on the problem.
Very painful, but you sitting there smiling though, right? Cause he a pedo too. And that little fairy one that you seen before, he in on it too. This is their culta. This is what they're about. So why everybody over here worried about foundational Black Americans, Black Hebrew Israelites, and Black Christians? Nah, this is what you need to be worried about.
Of accused pedophiles fleeing to help ensure it doesn't happen again. Back at the stakeout, an ambulance pulls up and a man steps out. It's Caro.
That was definitely him. Oh my God. Okay.
The police are called and eventually arrive. His days on the run are over as he's led away.
Did you assault the girl in the United States? No. Did you flee Israel because you assaulted the girl in the United States? Have you ever assaulted any girls in Israel? Do you know that you're wanted by Interpol?
Yeah. There's relief as police escort him to their car. This marks the end to a months-long manhunt.
Oh my gosh! Can I give you a hug?
Oh, yes. We here.
Investigations in other cities have shown that boys 13, 14, even younger are coerced into prostitution with threats of physical violence and are sometimes shipped across state lines, shipped to the older adult men who desire young boys for sexual acts. Occasionally, these boys' episodes with their older clients ends in physical violence. There are men who seek young boys to torture and sometimes to kill.
The President's Commission on Obscenity found, this is the commission that Richard Nixon repudiated, it mentioned in passing that child pornography was a phenomenon of the abuse of children, and then went on to say that for every female prostitute of any age in the United States, there are 9 boys underage who are prostitutes. And there was a call boy ring operated out of New York City, which had phone hookups with Houston, Atlanta, Los Angeles, New Orleans, Washington, D.C. And that callboy ring had a list of 10,000 clients who could call and with a credit card purchase a boy. Hello?
You know they're mostly white, right? And the others is Asians. I said it. The predominantly 10,000 are white.
Hello, this is credit card number 06789. I'd like to make an order, please.
Go ahead.
I'm looking for a young male, blonde hair, blue eyes.
Body hair or no body hair?
Thick body hair, please.
What age?
10 to 12.
Butch or femme?
Butch, please.
What is your address?
I'm at the Houston Marriott Hotel, room 313.
Wire me $200 now by credit card and have $100 in cash for the boy. He'll be there in 30 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. The kind of individuals involved are down the line, almost in every instance in the cases I've investigated, men who are very powerful,
white,
usually very wealthy,
white,
and usually administrate control over a large number of people.
White.
16-year-old boy came to us telling how he'd started as a prostitute at age 12 and now is employed by a large Houston corporation. The corporation pays him from a well-covered slush fund.
I'm working right now, with the corporation. And
what's that? How's that work?
What color do you think he is?
When their executives or, their business people are in town, they're sent to our apartment, and we entertain them while they're here.
Okay, what's that entertainment usually involve? What do they usually demand, or what do they want?
Well, it's all kinds of sex and perversions. There's no two alike. I've decided that.
Subsequent to the making of this interview,
that's probably why those white 3 male officers were the way they were with that young black girl. Because, they don't like girls anyway. They really like young boys. They probably are pedophiles. Ain't nothing changed about these people.
this boy's mutilated body was found.
It's closely attached to the major financial, commercial, industrial, educational institutions of our society.
All white.
It's run by the same people who run those.
White people.
It's frequented by the same people who occupy management positions in
White
those.
people.
It's not the mafia.
Nope, it's not the Italians. I ain't gonna even say it.
It's an adjunct of clean business. It's serving the most respectable people we have in our society.
White people, right? That's who they deem as the most respectable, even though they do the most fucked up shit, including creating shit like this.
The people who are the elite.
Right. Who are the elite? Yeah, shout out to all you white hoes, you white moms. Your sons aren't safe, and neither are your daughters.
The reason the STD rate is so high is because rich white people touch their children and then doctors cover it up.
Most of the girls between the ages of 5
and it's not just the rich white folk. It's them lower po ass white folk too. Them too.
By the 9 did not claim they had been assaulted, but by the time record-keeping systems were in place in the late 1920s, girls under age 13 accounted for 10% of reported infections among females. So, doctors were vexed as to how so many girls had become infected, particularly those from white, middle, and upper-class families. Many white professionals believed that only foreign or ignorant men abused their daughters, and so assumed that incest occurred only in poor, working-class, immigrant, or African-American families. When the evidence increasingly pointed to men from their own class, doctors, public health officials, social reformers, and educators speculated that girls could become infected from non-sexual contacts with toilet seats, towels. Modes of transmission doctors had already rejected for adults and boys. Healthcare professionals ignored the possibility of sexual assault and insisted instead that girls faced the greatest risk of exposure in the school lavatory.
White women, are y'all okay? See, because of systemic racism, you're not even protected in your own home. They blame us for the STD rate when really it's your father touching you and giving you a venereal disease, statistically speaking, historically speaking. And if you need help, you know who to look at. It's not us. It's them. It's your dad. It's your brother. See, white women are under attack in this country from the damn people on that island hanging out with the rich. Damn near down to the middle class household. These little white girls are very unsafe and thereby making my community unsafe.
But why? Because of where you come from. I meant to show this earlier when the Israelite brother was speaking and saying how y'all come from caves, but I didn't forget. Here we go.
I want to show you guys some of the documents showing the white races of Europe, and we can get a better perspective as to who the Moors were fighting. These are the albinos and the beasts of Europe. And the Moors were fighting these people for hundreds of years prior to the so-called transatlantic slave trade. And one interesting thing I wanted to show you is that when you look at these beasts and albinos and how they have achieved what they've been able to achieve in just a few hundred years, keeping in mind that they were considered wild men just a few hundred years ago, and they had no last names. Many of them didn't even have first names. And I wanted to show you this because I found this very...
See, John? See? We adopted you into the Johns. And that's why we're taking your name away. Because we adopted you. You were accepted into the fold at one time. You probably bogarted your way into or slithered your way in, but we accepted you nonetheless, John North. Now you'll just go back to North.
Interesting. If you see here the wild men, and you look at the clothing that the people are wearing to the left, you can see here they're wearing this clothing to cover up their hairy bodies. So I found that very interesting.
Me too, because like I said, John North, John the Baptist was there as well. And he pointed that out, because I forgot about that. He pointed out how hairy your people are, and but we accepted you nonetheless. And I tried to at least stick my neck out on the line for you, so you can keep your name, your last name at least. Just remember that.
You can see here they're wearing this clothing to cover up their hairy bodies. So I found that very interesting. And something else I found in the British Library was
one of the oldest genealogy charts, one of the first ones made for white people. And as you can see at the bottom of that genealogy chart, you see 2 Wildmen. So they're showing that their ancestry comes from the caveman.
I'm the oldest of 10 children. I'm born August 28, 1896. I was born at Cherokee Strip, OT, Oklahoma Territory, 1896. Those early days, we lived in, really I was born in a cave. There wasn't nothing but a cave. Really I was born in a cave. There wasn't nothing but a cave. We lived in, really I was born in a cave. There wasn't nothing but a cave. Those early days, we lived in, really I was born in a cave. There wasn't nothing but a cave.
In a cave?
Right. The next home was a half dugout. Yeah. To start with.
Half dugout.
I would like to just talk to you kind of a lot of things
just
you
go
should
right
put down
ahead,
so we'll make it out.
Could I?
Early days, we lived in, really I was born in a cave. There wasn't nothing but a cave.
In a cave?
Right. The next home was a half dugout. To start with.
Half dugout.
I would like to just talk to you kind of a lot of things
just
you
go
should
right
put down
ahead,
so we'll make it out.
Could I ask you one question?
All you want to.
Was there, what was the closest settlement or town to where you were born?
Closest settlement? Augusta, Oklahoma, none up there now. But
states. Aztec calendars, new reset days. Cycles collapsed, then the world reborn blaze. Mayan zero, yeah. Math to advance while reinvented Europe's to fit the ocean's glance. They call it myth when it don't fit charts. But myth just means stolen parts. I walk on land with a memory heart. Every step beat like a drum in the dark. They taught me pilgrims, muskets, and prayer. Never taught who was already there. Never taught copper people mind by hand. Thousands of years deep in this land. I was born in New Babylon, yeah. I was born in New Babylon, yeah, yeah. Empire talk, but the past stay long. Temples and Grand Canyons, hear the hope of soul songs hum. I was born in New Babylon, yeah, yeah. I was born in New Babylon. New name, same old throne, same old change. Just polished on this to appear chrome. They remix truth, call it unknown. I was born in New Babylon, yeah. I was born in New Babylon. Grand Canyon walls got temple scars. Caves cut straight, not made by stars. Hoppy elders said worlds done past. 4 trees buried under you. The judges.
So I like this. It was all right. But I'm still gonna keep my Mississippi Mass Choir and my gospel music. Thank you.
This is your granddaddy. This is your granddaddy. This is your granddaddy. Your granddaddy. Your granddaddy. This is your granddaddy. This is your granddaddy. This is your granddaddy. I want y'all to keep it right there. Happy say, come on, happy say. Granddaddy. Teach us how to swim. Shh, y'all be quiet. Leave me alone. Daddy tried to teach us how to swim. He walked woke us up on Christmas Eve. He couldn't get us nothing for Christmas. So he said, I'm going to teach y'all how to swim.
Y'all think this is not a game. This is what y'all do. This is what y'all are known for. Being cave dwellers and fucking animals.
A school bus driver was struck by a flying rock that broke 5 of his ribs. But despite the intense pain, he managed to safely pull the bus over to the side of the road and open the doors. The 21 students on board were left with nothing more than minor scrapes and were otherwise unharmed. However, while Marcus lay unconscious in the hospital, he didn't receive a thank you card. He received a court summons. 3 parents jointly filed a lawsuit against
You ugly, big, fat, cow, heifer ass bitch.
him, claiming that he braked too hard, causing their children to hit their heads, suffer minor injuries and emotional distress,
Ain't no worse than what your men be doing to your own kids.
and even develop lasting psychological trauma. They also
Lasting psychological trauma. Y'all been passing that down on your kids, having them out there while you was burning bodies, hanging bodies. You didn't care then. We know you don't care now, because we see what you do to kids, especially young boys.
also questioned why the school bus wasn't equipped with seatbelts. As a result, they demanded $500,000 in damages from Marcus and the school district. After reviewing the onboard surveillance footage, the judge angrily dismissed all of the parents' claims. Not only that, the judge found that the parents had fabricated facts and may have committed extortion and perjury and immediately...
They just wanted to get some money to buy meth. That's all. They wanted to get some money to buy meth.
ordered prosecutors to pursue criminal charges against them. In the end, to avoid possible jail time, the parents were forced to pay Marcus $5,000 in compensation for damage to his reputation and emotional distress. Do you think this ruling was fair?
Oh yes, I think it was very fair. I think it was very fair. Look at the bleach blondes. Look at the bleach blondes with the bad hair. Just crying because they couldn't get $500,000 to go buy some meth. Maybe the parents were mad. Maybe the fathers were mad because, you know, their children came home all banged up, which put them out of commission for that night. They couldn't use them.
November 9th, 2024. Donald Trump wins the presidency again. And in that moment, without knowing it, he signed the death certificate of white supremacy. Not because he wanted to, not because he's righteous, but because God uses whoever he chooses to accomplish his purposes. Even Pharaoh, even Nebuchadnezzar, even the man who represents everything the system was built to protect. Watch what happens next. You're about to witness something most people will miss entirely. They'll see chaos, political theater, another election cycle, but you need to see the pattern underneath. The one that's been playing out since Deuteronomy 28 was written, since the first auction block was built on American soil, since the first lie was told about who you are. Because what's happening right now isn't random. It's prophetic math, and the numbers don't lie. Trump didn't wake up on November 9th planning to dismantle white supremacy. He woke up planning to restore what he calls greatness. But here's what they don't tell you. Every empire that builds itself on the blood of the innocent carries a timer. And that timer doesn't stop just because the oppressed stop counting. God keeps counting. Revelation 18 is explicit about this. Babylon falls not because she's weak, but because her sins have piled up to heaven. She gets paid back double for what she's done. The bills always come due. Let me show you something they buried. In 1619, the first enslaved Africans arrived in Virginia. 20 Africans, stolen from Angola, sold as property. That's year zero for Black America's captivity on this soil. Now do the math. 1619 plus 400 years equals 2019.
The first slaves arrived here in 1565.
Genesis 15:13 records God telling Abraham, "Know for certain that your descendants will be strangers in a land not their own, and they will be enslaved and mistreated 400 years. 4 centuries of captivity followed by deliverance. That prophecy wasn't just for ancient Israel. It's a pattern, a blueprint. And if 2019 marked 400 years, then everything happening from 2020 forward is the exit, the plague year, the uprising, the systems cracking.
But I do believe it's something significant about 1619. I do. Because how I think about it is like, yeah, slavery started in 1565 over here, but it had to be a time period, or like a period where, you know, like a water glass is filling with water. Got to give it enough time to rise to a certain level. Wait till enough slaves is in this land. Okay, we can officially start to count down. So it could be from 1565 to 1619. That could have been a period. And they didn't stop slavery until like 1808, I want to say. So.
The unveiling. But here's where it gets dangerous. Trump's presidency, both terms, accelerates the collapse he thinks he's preventing. Every executive order meant to restore order actually exposes how fragile the whole structure is. Every nationalist policy meant to protect borders reveals how terrified the empire is of losing control. Every Supreme Court decision meant to roll back progress shows their hand. They know time is running out. They can feel the ground shifting. So they're grabbing everything they can before the house falls. Think about Pharaoh in Exodus. When Moses first showed up demanding freedom, Pharaoh didn't just say no, he made the oppression worse. He took away the straw but demanded the same number of bricks. He tightened his grip because he sensed what was coming. That's what you're watching now. The tighter they squeeze, the closer you are to the Red Sea moment. When Pharaoh chased the Israelites to the water's edge, he thought he had them trapped. He didn't realize he was chasing his own army into a grave. Right. Trump isn't the cause of white supremacy's collapse. He's the symptom of its desperation. The system is dying, and it chose him as its last, loudest defender. The man who says the quiet parts out loud, who removes the mask, who shows you exactly what this nation was built on and who it was built for. And in showing you that so clearly, so undeniably, he makes it impossible to pretend anymore. The mythology dies when the reality is too blatant to ignore. Let that sink in. No, really. They needed you to believe in the mythology, that America was founded on noble principles that just needed perfecting, that the Constitution was colorblind, that slavery was an unfortunate blemish on an otherwise beautiful experiment. They needed you to believe the system could be reformed if you just worked hard enough, voted responsibly enough, protested peacefully enough. But Trump's presidency shattered that story. He governed like the founders actually wrote it, for propertied white men, by propertied white men, protecting the interests of propertied white men. He revealed the original operating system, and you can't unsee that. Now reverse that. What they meant for harm, God uses for revelation. Romans 8:28 isn't about making bad things feel good. It's about God weaponizing the enemy's own moves. Joseph told his brothers in Genesis 50:20, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." Trump meant to make America great again for the people who already had it great. But in doing so, he triggered a mass awakening in the people who never had it great at all.
And see those normies, they help keep the ideology in place. That's why they mostly identify as right. But when they get mad when you bring it out.
Voters in 2020 turned out in record numbers not because they loved Biden. They turned out because they'd seen enough. The veil was torn. And once you see the machinery behind the curtain, you can't go back to sleep. Here's what you need to understand about empire cycles. Daniel chapter 2 shows us the statue: gold, silver, bronze, iron mixed with clay. Each metal represents a kingdom, each one weaker than the last. We're in the feat stage now. Iron mixed with clay, strong and brittle at the same time, holding together by force but cracking under its own weight. Trump's second term is the iron trying to hold the clay in place. It won't work. It can't work. The stone cut without hands is already rolling downhill. And that stone is the kingdom of God, multi-ethnic, multi-tongued, ungovernable by Rome's children. You don't stop that stone. You get out of its way or get crushed. But let's not spiritualize this into passivity. The stone rolls, yes, but you still have to march toward the Red Sea. You still have to pack your bags in Egypt even when Pharaoh hasn't said yes yet. Faith without works is dead. So what does preparation look like when an empire is collapsing and a remnant is being called out? First, you have to understand that white supremacy isn't just racism, it's a religious system. It has priests, the politicians who baptize injustice into law. It has doctrines manifest destiny, the curse of Ham, colorblindness. It has liturgy, the Pledge of Allegiance, the national anthem, the bootstrap mythology. It has sacraments, property ownership, credit scores, zip codes. And it has a God, white skin as the imago Dei, whiteness as the mediator between humanity and power. This isn't hyperbole. This is how it functions. And Trump is its most honest high priest in a generation. He doesn't perform the rituals with guilt or apology. He conducts them with pride. That's why his base loves him, not despite the cruelty, because of it. He gives them permission to worship openly again, to say the words their grandparents said without shame, to believe what the founders believed without the burden of pretending they've evolved. He tells them they're losing their country, and he's right, they are. Not because of immigration or cultural Marxism or whatever the talking points are this week. They're losing it because the lease is up. The land cries out. The blood of Abel still speaks. And God is not mocked. Whatever a nation sows, that it will also reap. Galatians 6:7, don't be deceived. You don't plant slavery, Jim Crow, redlining, mass incarceration, medical experimentation, economic extraction, and cultural theft for 4 centuries and then just walk into the sunset with experimentation, economic extraction, and cultural theft for 4 centuries and then just walk into the sunset whistling. The harvest comes. It always comes. Trump's presidency is part of that harvest. Not the judgment itself, the exposure before the judgment, the warning shot, the chance to repent while the door is still open. But if you read Revelation 18 carefully, you'll notice Babylon doesn't repent. She doubles down. She says in her heart, I sit as queen. I am not a widow. I will never mourn. And then in one day, her plagues come. Death, mourning, famine, consumed by fire. I'm not saying America is Babylon. I'm saying America has Babylon's spirit. The obsession with wealth and comfort built on the backs of the exploited. The arrogance that says no one can touch us. The delusion that military might equals divine approval. And when nations take on that spirit, they inherit that judgment. So what does Trump trigger? He triggers the unmasking. The system stops pretending to be neutral. The mythology stops pretending to include you. The institutions stop pretending they were ever designed for your flourishing. And in that unmasking, a choice becomes unavoidable. Do you keep trying to integrate into a structure that's collapsing, or do you build something new while there's still time? Let me take you back to 1877. Reconstruction is over. Federal troops pull out of the South. The Compromise of 1877 is signed, a backroom deal that trades black freedom for political power. Rutherford B. Hayes becomes president and black folks are thrown back to the wolves. Everything that had been gained in 12 years, schools, land ownership, political representation, gets systematically dismantled. And it wasn't because black people failed. It was because the system never intended for Reconstruction to succeed. It was a placeholder, a pause, a way to look merciful without actually redistributing power. You see the pattern. Every time there's a breakthrough for black folks, there's a backlash. Every time there's a moment of progress, there's a pendulum swing. The Emancipation Proclamation leads to black codes. The Civil Rights Act leads to the war on drugs. The first black president leads to Trump. This isn't coincidence. This is strategy. The system gives just enough to create hope, then snatches it back to create despair. Because hopeful people organize, despairing people consume. And the empire needs you consuming, not organizing. But here's what they didn't plan for. Every betrayal is also a tutorial. Every backlash teaches you something new about how the machinery works. Reconstruction taught black folks that federal protection is temporary, that white moderates will choose peace over justice every single time, that you can't depend on the government to guarantee what God has already promised. Those lessons got passed down, whispered at kitchen tables, encoded in blues songs and Negro spirituals. And those lessons are activating now, in real time, as people watch the same patterns repeat. Trump's 2024 victory is Reconstruction's betrayal in HD. It's the system saying, once again, we never meant it. You thought the arc of the moral universe bends toward justice. We'll show you how fast it snaps back. You thought electing a black president meant progress. We'll elect the antithesis twice just to prove the point. You thought your votes mattered. We'll show you the Electoral College, gerrymandering, voter suppression, and Supreme Court decisions that say otherwise. The mask is off. The deal is clear. This nation was never meant for you, and it's tired of pretending. Because now you know, you're not crazy, you're not imagining it, you're not being too sensitive or reading into things. The data is in. The verdict is clear. And once you accept that, you can stop begging for a seat at a table that was built on your ancestors' backs. You can stop trying to integrate into systems designed for your extraction. You can stop performing respectability for people who will never respect you. You can finally do what Exodus 12 instructs. Pack your bags, eat standing up, and prepare to leave. Now some of you are thinking, leave and go where? This is a good question, a necessary question, but it's the wrong question first. The first question is, leave what? Leave the mythology. Leave the lie that you're 3/5 human. Leave the shame they taught you about your hair, your skin, your history, your bodies. Leave the doctrine that suffering is noble and patience is virtue when you're being crushed. Leave the celebrity pastors who preach prosperity while their people drown. Leave the political parties that show up every 4 years and disappear for the next 1,459 days. Leave the schools that teach your children to hate themselves. Leave the media that shapes your imagination to see yourself as sidekick, victim, or clown. Leave the debt cycles that keep you running on a hamster wheel. Leave every system that extracts your labor, your creativity, your trauma, your literal DNA, and gives you nothing sustainable in return. That's the Exodus. Not necessarily a geographic one, though for some it will be, but definitely a spiritual, economic, and psychological one. An exodus from Egypt's logic, from Pharaoh's definition of productivity and success, from the taskmasters who convinced you that freedom is irresponsible and submission is maturity. This is where the Bible becomes a tactical manual. You think Moses woke up one day and Pharaoh said, "You know what? Y'all are free." No, God sent 10 plagues, 10 escalating disasters that proved Egypt's gods were powerless. The Nile turned to blood, their water god defeated. Frogs, lice, flies, their land polluted. Livestock die, their wealth evaporates. Boils, their bodies betray them. Hail, locusts, darkness, their sky god silent. And then the final one, the death of the firstborn. The thing they valued most, the future they were building, taken in one night. You're watching the plagues now. The 2008 financial collapse, Hurricane Katrina, COVID-19, the George Floyd uprisings, the January 6th insurrection, the supply chain breakdowns, the inflation, the mass shootings, the mental health crisis, the infertility rates dropping, the trust in institutions evaporating. These aren't random. These are the birth pangs. The system is convulsing. And every convulsion is God saying the same thing he said to Pharaoh, "Let my people go." But Pharaoh's heart was hard. Exodus says God hardened it, not because God is capricious, but because Pharaoh had already chosen. He'd chosen empire over ethics, chosen wealth over worship, chosen his own glory over God's glory. And when you make that choice long enough, your heart becomes concrete. You can't bend even when you see the writing on the wall. Even when your magicians tell you, this is the finger of God, you keep reaching for your whip. That's where America is. The magicians, the economists, the strategists, the pollsters are saying the models don't work anymore, but the pharaohs keep building. And Trump, whether he knows it or not, is hardening the heart one more time, making the oppression so loud, so visible, so undeniable that the masses have no choice but to respond. You couldn't ignore George Floyd's murder. You couldn't ignore the pandemic exposing who was essential and who was expendable. You couldn't ignore the police budgets versus the school budgets. You couldn't ignore the statues of slaveholders still standing in town squares. Trump made it all loud again, pulled the scab off. Trump made it all loud again, pulled the scab off. And now the wound is exposed, infected, requiring treatment or amputation. Pay attention to this. In Exodus, after the 10th plague, Pharaoh finally says go, but then he changes his mind. He musters his army and chases them to the Red Sea. Why? Because he can't imagine an economy without slave labor. He can't imagine a nation where black bodies aren't the foundation. So he chases them even though God has already judged Egypt. Even though his own son is dead. Even though the wealth is gone. He chases them because that's all he knows. Control or collapse. That's what you're about to see in this next season. The system will chase you even as it drowns itself. It will pass laws to control your wombs, your bathrooms, your ballots, your books. It will criminalize your existence in every way it can because it cannot imagine itself without you underneath it. The architecture collapses without the foundation. And you've been the foundation since 1619. But here's the promise, and you need to hold on to this. The Red Sea splits, not because you're perfect, not because you've earned it, but because God is faithful to his word. He said 400 years. He said there would be deliverance. He said the oppressor would drown in the same waters meant to trap you. And he keeps his promises, even when it looks impossible. Even when the army is behind you and the water is in front of you. Even when your own people are complaining that Egypt was better because at least they had food. The sea splits, and you walk through on dry ground. Now let's talk about what happens after the sea, because this is where most people stop reading and it's the part you need most. The Israelites didn't go straight to the promised land. They wandered for 40 years. Why? Numbers 14 tells us because they didn't trust God enough to take the land. They sent spies into Canaan. The spies came back and said, yes, it's everything God promised, milk and honey, abundant resources. But there are giants, fortified cities. We looked like grasshoppers to them. And the people believed the giants were bigger than God. So God said, fine, This generation won't enter. Your children will, but you'll wander until everyone who chose fear over faith dies in the wilderness. That's the part nobody preaches. The part where freedom is offered and refused, where the promised land is right there, and you camp outside it for 40 years because you're more comfortable complaining in the desert than confronting the giants. Don't let that be you. Don't let this generation be the one that gets free from Egypt, but dies before possessing what God said is yours. Trump's second term is the Red Sea moment. The system is about to chase itself into drowning, but after that there's a wilderness, a period of testing, a time when manna falls daily but you have to trust God for tomorrow's provision because you can't hoard it. A time when the old leadership, the Moses generation, has to train the Joshua generation to fight differently, not with pitchforks against muskets, not with protests against tanks, but with strategy, with economic sovereignty, with educational autonomy, with spiritual warfare that understands we're not fighting flesh and blood, but principalities and powers and rulers of darkness in high places. You want to know what Trump triggered? He triggered the choice. The unavoidable, inescapable choice between Egypt and the Promised Land, between integration into a dying empire and building a new order altogether, between begging Pharaoh for better bricks and leaving to build your own cities. And the tragedy is, some of you will choose Egypt. You'll see the collapse coming and still try to get a better position on the Titanic. You'll see the writing on the wall and still invest in the empire's currency. You'll see the evidence and still send your children to schools that teach them to despise themselves. But some of you won't. Some of you will hear this and something will click. A knowing that's deeper than intellect. A recognition that's ancestral. You'll feel your grandmother's prayers activating. You'll remember the dreams you had as a child before the system taught you they were impossible. You'll look at your children and decide they will not inherit your chains. And you'll start moving. Not recklessly, not without wisdom, but with the kind of holy urgency that knows the hour is late and the door is closing. Let me tell you about a woman named Harriet Tubman, born Araminta Ross, enslaved, beaten so badly she had seizures for the rest of her life. But in 1849 she walked away, didn't ask permission, didn't wait for the legal system to free her. She walked, followed the North Star, trusted the conductors on the Underground Railroad, and when she got to freedom she didn't stop. She went back, 19 times, freed over 300 people, and she said this: I freed 1,000 slaves. I could have freed 1,000 more if only they knew they were slaves. That's the real battle, not convincing white supremacy to end. It won't until God ends it. The real battle is convincing black folks they're still enslaved, that the chains look different but they're still chains. That freedom isn't a paycheck and a mortgage in a red-line suburb. That liberation isn't a VP title at a corporation that funds private prisons. That progress isn't your daughter getting into an Ivy League school that was built with slave labor and still invests in defense contractors bombing black and brown countries overseas. Trump triggered the awakening, the moment when enough of us looked around and said, wait, this isn't freedom. This is Egypt with air conditioning, Pharaoh with a 401k, taskmasters with business casual dress codes. The bricks are still being made. The quotas are still due. The bodies are still breaking. We've just been taught to call it opportunity. So what now? What do you do with this information? What does spiritual warfare look like when the enemy is a system, not a person? When the battlefield is your mind, your children's education, your community's economy, your people's theology? First you pray, not the passive, Lord, fix this prayers, the Daniel 9 prayers, the ones where you repent on behalf of your nation, where you remind God of his promises, where you intercede for your people with fasting and sackcloth. The 3 a.m. prayers when the veil is thin and the answers come clear. The prayers that break generational curses, that cancel ungodly soul ties, that loose what heaven has loosed and bind what heaven has bound. You pray like your life depends on it because it does. Second, you study. You can't fight what you don't understand. Read Deuteronomy 28 in Hebrew. Understand what the curses actually say and notice how they match the Black American experience with eerie precision. Read the transatlantic slave trade records. See the bills of sale, the insurance policies on human cargo, the blueprints of the slave ships. Read the Freedman's Bank collapse, the Tulsa massacre, the Tuskegee experiment. The COINTELPRO files on Fred Hampton, Martin, Malcolm, Fannie Lou. Read the housing discrimination lawsuits against Trump's father in the 1970s. Read the 1994 crime bill. Read the Supreme Court opinions. Know your enemy's own words. Third, you build parallel economies, black banks, land trusts, homeschool co-ops that teach true history, food cooperatives, barter networks, skill-sharing systems. You create infrastructure that doesn't depend on the empire's permission. Because when the empire falls, and it will fall, you need to have something in place that can sustain your people through the transition. Fourth, you mentor. Every generation must train the next. You teach your children who they really are, not slaves, not descendants of slaves, but children of the Most High, royal priesthood, holy nation. You teach them their history didn't start in 1619. You teach them about the kingdom of Kush, the Mali Empire, the scholars of Timbuktu, the architects of the pyramids. You teach them their ancestors were mathematicians, astronomers, metallurgists, linguists, and kings before they were ever captives. You give them an identity rooted in glory, not trauma. Fifth, you unify. The enemy's greatest weapon is division. Light skin versus dark skin. African versus Caribbean versus American. Denominational splits, class warfare, respectability politics, all designed to keep you fragmented. But Ezekiel 37 shows two sticks becoming one in God's hand. Unity isn't uniformity, it's aligned purpose. It's saying we might disagree on tactics, but we agree on the mission, liberation, restoration, reparations.
Right. Right. That's what we need to understand as foundational Black Americans, Black Hebrew Israelites, Black Christians, Black people. We need to understand that.
But Ezekiel 37 shows two sticks becoming one in God's hand. Unity isn't uniformity, it's aligned purpose. It's saying we might disagree on tactics, but we agree on the mission, liberation, restoration, reparations. It's aligned purpose. It's saying we might disagree on tactics, but we agree on the mission, liberation, restoration, reparations. It's saying we might disagree on tactics, but we agree on the mission, liberation, restoration, reparations, and resurrection of a people who were prophesied dead, but refused to stay buried. Catch the pattern. Everything I just listed requires action. Faith without works is dead, James says. You can know every Bible verse about deliverance and still die in Egypt if you don't pack your bags. You can understand every historical pattern and still pass down chains if you don't break them in your generation. Trump didn't just trigger the end of white supremacy. He triggered the demand for you to choose what you're going to do about it. And here's the thing most people miss. The end of white supremacy doesn't mean the end of white people. Revelation 7 shows a multitude from every nation, tribe, people, and language standing before the throne. And here's the thing most people miss. The end of white supremacy doesn't mean the end of white people. Revelation 7 shows a multitude from every nation, tribe, people, and language standing before.
But see, that's what they scared of. That's what white people are afraid of. They know that they have white supremacy, but they're like, okay, well, if white supremacy goes, then that means we go too. They don't understand that we're not cruel like them. They don't understand that. And you know how a person can be so guilty, like they can be so guilty that it can make them sick. That's how some of them is going to perish. Some of them is going to die literally from a broken heart. From guilt. From guilt. And then, you know, some of them going to know that they're guilty. And when they see genuine kindness, even after they was wrong, that's going to cause some of them to croak over too. Because of guilt. But that's why they're afraid. Because they know. Well, they think that, like, we're going to get rid of them. And it's like, no. No. Even though I be saying, I be wanting your kids to die and y'all to die. You know, like I said. It is what it is. I'm not going to do anything. Because vengeance is not mine. Vengeance is the Lord's. And so,
the throne. The kingdom of God is multi-ethnic. The New Jerusalem has 12 gates. There's room for everybody who repents and submits to the king.
those 12 gates are the 12 tribes of Israel. Don't get it twisted. Yeah. Everybody ain't going to be joint heirs with Christ. The other nations will be servants. Those of whom who make it, they'll be servants.
But what dies is the system that made whiteness supreme, the ideology that made melanin a curse, the structure that distributed resources, dignity, and divine favor based on proximity to European features. That system is terminal. It has cancer in every organ, and Trump is the fever spike right before the crisis, the body's last attempt to fight the infection before it either heals or dies. And here's what you need to understand. When that system dies, it's taking everyone who's attached to it down with it. That's Revelation 18 again. Come out of her, my people, so that you will not share in her sins, so that you will not receive any of her plagues. The call isn't to reform Babylon. It's to evacuate Babylon, to detach from her economy, her values, her definition of success, because her judgment is coming. And if you're still attached when she falls, you fall with her. This is why the gospel is so urgent right now. Not the prosperity gospel that baptizes greed, not the social gospel that makes activism a substitute for repentance, but the biblical gospel that says the kingdom of God is at hand, that Jesus is Lord and Caesar is not, that every knee will bow and every tongue confess, some in worship, some in terror, that there's a kingdom that cannot be shaken, and you need to be transferred into it before the shakeable kingdoms collapse. Trump's presidency is shaking everything, and what remains after the shaking is what's unshakable. So the question is, what have you built your life on? The empire's promises or God's, the system's approval or the creator's purpose? A 401k that evaporates when the dollar collapses or treasures stored in heaven? A zip code that determines your worth or an identity rooted in being made in the image of God? Let's go deeper. Trump isn't just a political figure, he's a prophetic sign, a Belshazzar at the feast. Daniel 5 tells the story. Babylon's king is throwing a party. He's drinking wine from the sacred vessels stolen from Jerusalem's temple. He's mocking God, essentially. And in the middle of the party, a hand appears. No body, just a hand. And it writes on the wall, MENEMENETEKELPARSIN. Daniel interprets, God has numbered your kingdom and finished it. You've been weighed on the scales and found wanting. Your kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians. That night, Belshazzar dies. Babylon falls. Trump's presidency is the writing on the wall. The system has been weighed, it's been found wanting. The kingdom is being divided, and the current rulers are partying like it's not happening. They're mocking the sacred. They're doubling down on the very things that brought the judgment. And they don't see the hand, but you need to see it. You need to read the writing, because the people who saw it in Daniel's day had time to prepare. The people who ignored it got caught in the fall. So what's being numbered? What's being weighed? America's treatment of black people, native people, brown people, poor people, 400 years of stolen labor, stolen land, stolen lives, stolen futures. God keeps accounts, and the accounting is coming due. Not because God is petty, but because righteousness demands it. Because justice delayed is not justice denied, it's justice stored up. Romans 2:5 says you're storing up wrath for yourself on the day of God's wrath and revelation of his righteous judgment. Every unpunished crime is being recorded. Every ignored cry is being archived. Every murdered child's blood is speaking like Abel's. And Trump, by being exactly who he is, by governing exactly how he governs, is adding line items to the ledger. He's making it impossible to claim ignorance. He's forcing the choice. Are you with the oppressor or the oppressed? With Pharaoh or the Hebrew slaves? With Rome or the early church? With Babylon or the New Jerusalem? There's no middle ground anymore. The middle ground is collapsing. You're either evacuating or going down with the ship. Now let me tell you why this matters for your children. Exodus 10:2 says one of the reasons God hardened Pharaoh's heart and multiplied the plagues was that you may tell your children and grandchildren how I dealt harshly with the Egyptians and how I performed my signs among them, and that you may know that I am the Lord. The deliverance isn't just for you, it's for the next generation. It's so you can tell them, we were slaves and God freed us. We were oppressed and God judged the oppressor. We were at the Red Sea with an army behind us and God split the waters. Your children need to know this story, not the sanitized version taught in schools. The real version, the one where God takes sides, where he drowns slave masters and feeds refugees, where he makes the exploiters pay back with interest. If you don't tell them, they'll grow up thinking the system is normal. They'll grow up trying to integrate into the very structure God is dismantling. They'll grow up ashamed of who they are instead of proud of whose they are. They'll grow up enslaved in their minds even if their bodies are technically free. And then the exodus will have been for nothing. This is generational warfare. The enemy knows if he can capture the children's imagination, he doesn't have to fight the adults. That's why the curriculum is what it is. That's why the media representation is what it is. That's why the school-to-prison pipeline exists. That's why they're banning books about black history while platforming books that say slavery wasn't that bad. They're fighting for the minds of your children because whoever controls the next generation's worldview controls the future. But here's the countermove. You become the primary educator. Not the school, not the TV, not the influencers. You teach them their identity. You teach them their history. You teach them their God. You disciple them in righteousness, so when Babylon offers them a seat at the table, they have the discernment to say no thank you. We're building our own table.
And shout out to those churches down in Florida. Man, I'm proud to see that those churches down in Florida are teaching those kids black history. This is what church is for. Not to molest them now. Just teach them the black history. Don't be down there molesting them.
Moses was raised in Pharaoh's house, had the best education Egypt could offer. But Hebrews 11:24-26 says, by faith Moses, when he had grown up, refused to be known as the son of Pharaoh's daughter. He chose to be mistreated along with the people of God rather than to enjoy the fleeting pleasures of sin. He regarded disgrace for the sake of Christ as of greater value than the treasures of Egypt, because he was looking ahead to his reward. Moses could have stayed in the palace, could have enjoyed the wealth and prestige, could have sold out. But somewhere along the way, somebody taught him who he really was. Somebody told him, you're Hebrew, your people are suffering, and this empire is not your home. And that knowledge changed everything. He walked away from Pharaoh's house and ended up leading 2 million people out of slavery. That's what you're raising, the Moses generation, the ones who will refuse the empire's bribes, who will choose solidarity with the oppressed over comfort with the oppressor, who will look at Egypt's treasures and say these are worthless compared to what God has promised. But they can only make that choice if they know they have one. If they've been taught that Pharaoh's house is not their identity, that they're sojourners, not citizens, that their allegiance is to a kingdom not of this world. Trump's presidency makes that teaching easier in some ways. He's so blatant that the mythology is harder to maintain. Your children can see clearly that this nation was not built for them, that the system is not neutral, that the playing field is not level. And instead of that being despair, you turn it into clarity. You say yes, now you see it. Now you know what you're up against. Now you can strategize accordingly. Now you can build with your eyes open instead of your head in the sand. The wilderness generation died because they wanted to go back to Egypt. They romanticized their slavery. They remembered the fish and the cucumbers and forgot the whips and the chains. Exodus 16:3 records them saying to Moses, if only we had died by the Lord's hand in Egypt. There where we sat around pots of meat and ate all the food we wanted, but you have brought us out into this desert to starve this entire assembly to death.
That's how I knew. That's how I knew that these children of Israel was black people. I told you by the time I got to Exodus, I was like, these are black people.
This is demonic. This is trauma-creating Stockholm syndrome. They preferred the certainty of oppression to the uncertainty of freedom, and that mentality killed them. They never entered the promised land. Their children did, but they died in the wilderness, haunted by a past they should have celebrated escaping. Don't let that be your testimony. Don't let your children hear you say things were better before the awakening, before the exposure, before the collapse, because they weren't better, they were just more comfortable, and comfort is not the goal. Freedom is. Righteousness is. The kingdom of God is. And all of those require you to leave Egypt, endure the wilderness, and fight the giants in Canaan. Trump triggered the end of white supremacy. Not because he's good, but because his presidency crystallized something that had been building for decades. It made visible what was always true. It removed the buffers and the niceties and the performances and showed you the operating system. Raw, unedited. And now you have a decision to make. Do you keep trying to debug the system, or do you finally accept it's working exactly as designed and you need to build a new one? That's what the next hour of this script is going to unpack. The mechanics of the collapse, the biblical parallels you can't ignore, the historical patterns that prove this isn't the first time, and the action steps, spiritually, economically, educationally, communally, that position you to survive the transition and thrive in what comes after. Because here's what they're not telling you. The fall of white supremacy isn't the fall of white people. It's the fall of a demonic system that enslaved everyone, including poor white folks who bought the lie that their skin made them superior even while they were being exploited too. Bacon's rebellion in 1676 taught the elites a lesson. Poor whites and enslaved blacks will unite against you if you're not careful. So they created the racial caste system. They gave poor whites just enough privilege to feel superior, just enough status to protect the hierarchy even at their own expense. That system is dying too. And when it does, there's a chance, a slim one but a real one, for multi-ethnic solidarity, for the kingdom Revelation describes, for the unity Jesus prayed for in John 17. But that only happens if enough people detach from the Babylon system before it falls. If enough people say, I'm not black or white first, I'm a kingdom citizen. I'm not American first, I'm a disciple. I'm not defined by my oppression or my privilege. I'm defined by the image of God stamped on my DNA. That's the revolution. Not trading one empire for another, but dismantling empire logic altogether and replacing it with kingdom ethics. Trump can't stop that. He can only accelerate the choice. The system can't stop it either. It can only thrash and rage as it drowns. The question is, are you in the water with it, or are you already on the other side watching the sea close over Pharaoh's army? The math is undefeated. The prophecy is unfolding. The timer is running. And every day you wait is a day you could have been building. Every day you waste trying to reform what God is tearing down is a day your children could have been learning who they are. Every dollar you spend in the enemy's economy is a dollar you could have invested in your own. This isn't rage. This isn't hatred. This is clarity. Cold, sober, spirit-led clarity that understands we're in a war, not against flesh and blood, but against systems and structures and spirits that have ruled this world since the Tower of Babel. And those systems are falling. Daniel saw it. John saw it. You're seeing it. The only question left is, what are you going to do about it? You need to understand something that most pastors won't tell you because they're terrified of being called divisive. The doctrine of the curse of Ham, the lie that black people were cursed to be servants because of something Noah said in Genesis 9, wasn't just Sunday school folklore. It was legal precedent. It was economic policy. It was the theological foundation for 400 years of brutality. And it's still in your Bible's footnotes if you look close enough. Here's where it gets biblical. Genesis 9:25. Noah wakes up from being drunk, realizes his son Ham saw him naked, and curses Ham's son Canaan. Cursed be Canaan.
That's not what happened. You need to read the book of Jubilees, the book of Jasher. Ham had sex with his mother. You have to really think about it. If Ham saw Noah naked, why would he just curse Canaan? Why specifically Canaan? Because Ham had sex with his mother, and that's a big no-no. And that's how Canaan was produced. And so that's why Canaan was the only one that was cursed.
The lowest of slaves will he be to his brothers. Bible scholars for centuries, white Bible scholars, pointed at this verse and said, see, black people are Hamites. They're cursed by God to be slaves. It's divine order.
But in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, and I've shown this many times before, it tells you that Ham is the progenitor of the dark races, but not the Negroes. It literally says that.
Enslavement is mercy because we're saving their souls while using their bodies. The Vatican made it official. Pope Nicholas V issued the papal bull Dum Diversas in 1452, giving Portugal's King Alfonso permission to invade, search out, capture, vanquish, and subdue all Saracens and pagans whatsoever, and other enemies of Christ wheresoever placed, and the kingdoms, dukedoms, principalities, dominions, possessions.
Yeah, but we were slaves under the Arabs first. See, we ran down into Africa in 70 AD. And, then, we created the empires and the Gold Coast and Nigeria and Ghana and those places we would eventually create. But while we was doing that in 650 AD, here come them Arabs with the Quran in one hand and a sword in another, and some work for us to do. And so we went through that first. And then, we moved around trying to avoid being taken as slaves. That's why West Sub-Saharan Africa is so big. When you look at the map and they talking about what's sub-Saharan Africa, that's why it's so big. The span is so because we ran down into Africa, and we made it to the southern part, trying to get away from white folks and Arabs from trying to enslave us, and then can't trust the authentic Africans because they point them in our direction to keep them from taking their people. So then, fast forward to about the 1300s, 1400s, and there we go.
And all movable and immovable goods whatsoever held and possessed by them, and to reduce their persons to perpetual slavery. Read that again. Perpetual slavery, authorized by the church, blessed by the cross.
By the Roman Catholic Church. That's why I call the Catholics Satan's church. And that Pope, even though he's right, got a lot of nerve to be talking about dump. Because the Catholic Church is going to be judged so harshly. All the bodies and the pedophiles and all of that going on within that church. And then they just issue simple, I'm sorry, we're sorry. Nah. Get ready to go to hell. All the popes, except for the first 5, they was black. And these archbishops and all of that, them nuns, all of them going to hell. Bye.
Made holy by the Pope. 3 years later, in 1455, Pope Nicholas doubled down with Rome as pontifex, granting Portugal a monopoly on the African slave trade and declaring it a righteous crusade. This wasn't just about money, though it was absolutely about money. This was spiritual warfare dressed as mission work. The church weaponized the Bible to justify genocide and enslavement. And if you think the Reformation fixed it, you're dreaming. Protestant slave owners used the same verses. Different denominations, same demon. But here's what they don't teach you in seminary. The curse wasn't even on Ham. It was on Canaan. And Canaan's descendants weren't black Africans. They were the people living in the land of Canaan that Israel was commanded to drive out. The Jebusites, the Hivites, the Perizzites, people groups in the Middle East, not sub-Saharan Africa.
Right. And then also, those people were not promised that land. They were not promised that land. They squatted on that land. They stole it. You know how when you hear some of these crazy stories about some of these people being in these homes and they squatting? Well, that's what Canaan did.
Higher theological justification for chattel slavery was based on a deliberate misreading of Scripture. They knew it was wrong. They did it anyway. Because empires don't run on truth. They run on useful lies. And Trump's presidency has exposed just how many lies are still operational. The lie that we're in a post-racial society. The lie that the system treats everyone fairly if they just work hard. The lie that the church is separate from politics when the church built the political structure. The lie that slavery ended in 1865 when it just rebranded as convict leasing, then sharecropping, then redlining, then mass incarceration, then the school-to-prison pipeline. Same game, new jerseys. Let me show you something they buried in the 13th Amendment. You know it. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States. Most people stop at neither slavery nor involuntary servitude and think that's the end. But read the exception, except as
Except for punishment as crime. So it goes mute here. And this is the last video.
White America thought they elected a savior, but God sent them their judgment. November 2024, you watched the election results roll in. You saw white America celebrating in the streets. You heard them chanting his name. You watched them worship at the altar of their golden idol. They thought they were crowning their champion. They had no idea they were signing their own death warrant. Here's what they don't want you to know. Here's what the mainstream media will never tell you. Here's the truth that's been hidden in plain sight. Donald Trump is not white America's savior. He is God's instrument of their destruction. Let me show you something that will blow your mind. In 2024, 21% of black men voted for Donald Trump. That's more than double what he got in previous elections. You heard that right. Black men, the sons of the enslaved, the descendants of those who suffered under white supremacy for 400 years, they helped put Trump back in the White House. And white America celebrated. They thought they were winning. But here's what they didn't see. Here's what their blind eyes couldn't comprehend. God was orchestrating the greatest act of divine justice in modern history. He was using the very people they oppressed to deliver their judgment. He was turning their victory celebration into a funeral march. And they were too drunk on their own pride to even notice. Look at what's happening right now in America. Trump's policies are tearing apart the very fabric of white middle-class life. His tariffs are crushing small business owners in rural white communities. His mass deportation plans are creating labor shortages that are destroying white-owned farms and factories. His economic chaos is wiping out retirement savings for white suburban families who thought they were safe. His dismantling of federal agencies is eliminating jobs that white college graduates depend on. Everything they built is crumbling. Everything they trusted is collapsing. Everything they believed in is turning to dust. And the man they worship is the one holding the sledgehammer. Coincidence? Random chaos? Political miscalculation? No. This is prophecy. This is divine judgment. This is God using the wicked to punish the wicked. This is the rod of God's anger. And white America is about to feel every strike. You saw the headlines. Trump dismantles DEI programs. Trump rolls back civil rights protections. Trump appoints judges who will set justice back 50 years. And white America cheered. They thought he was hurting us. They thought he was protecting them. They had no idea that every single policy, every single executive order, every single decision was a nail in their own coffin. The whole world is watching America isolate itself. Allies are turning away. Economic partners are finding new arrangements. The global south is rising while America falls. And Trump is accelerating it all with a smile on his face and a red hat on his head. What if I told you this exact scenario was written 3,000 years ago? What if I told you the Bible predicted a nation would be judged by its own idol? What if I told you that God has a pattern of using oppressors to destroy oppressors and then destroying the instrument he used? What if everything you're watching on the news right now is the fulfillment of ancient prophecy? White America wanted a white supremacist strongman. God said, fine. Here he is. Have him. Let him destroy you from the inside out. Let him dismantle everything your ancestors built. Let him isolate you from the world. Let him crash your economy. Let him expose your hypocrisy. Let him be the face of your judgment. This is not politics. This is spiritual warfare. This is not about Democrat versus Republican. This is about the God of justice settling accounts with a nation built on stolen land, slave labor, and innocent blood. This is about 400 years of oppression coming due. This is about the chickens coming home to roost. This is about divine vengeance wrapped in a red tie and delivered through the ballot box. And the most beautiful part, white America has no idea what's happening to them. They're still cheering, they're still celebrating. They're like Pharaoh hardening his heart while the plagues destroy Egypt all around him. They're like Belshazzar partying while the writing appears on the wall. They're like Babylon dancing while the enemy army marches through the gates. Today, right now, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how this prophecy is unfolding. I'm going to take you through scripture, through history, through current events, and I'm going to prove to you beyond any shadow of doubt that what you're witnessing is not chaos. It's judgment. It's not confusion. It's prophecy. It's not random. It's righteous. By the time you finish watching this video, you will never see Donald Trump the same way again. You will never see American politics the same way again. You will never see the news the same way again. Because you will see the hand of God moving pieces on a chessboard that most people don't even know exists. So buckle up, turn off your distractions, pay close attention, because what I'm about to reveal to you has been hidden for generations. What I'm about to show you will shake everything you thought you knew. What I'm about to prove to you will set you free from the lies you've been told your entire life. The judgment of white America has begun, and Donald Trump is the judge, jury, and executioner that God appointed. Let me show you how. Open your Bible. I'm going to show you something that will make your spine tingle. I'm going to show you a pattern that's been there all along, waiting for eyes to see it. Here's the principle that most people miss. Here's the theological truth that's been buried under centuries of false teaching. When God judges a nation, he doesn't send fire from heaven the way most people think. He doesn't send angels with flaming swords. He doesn't split the earth open and swallow the wicked whole. That's not how divine judgment works in most cases. Here's what God actually does. He gives a nation over to its own desires. He gives them exactly what they asked for. He lets them have the leader who reflects the darkness of their own hearts, and then he watches as they destroy themselves with their own choices. Turn with me to Romans chapter 1, verse 28. Paul writes, God gave them over to a reprobate mind. Did you catch that? God gave them over. Not God struck them down. Not God punished them directly. God gave them over. He released them. He stopped restraining their evil. He let them have what they wanted. And their own wickedness became their judgment. This is exactly what's happening with Trump and white America right now. They wanted a champion of white supremacy. They wanted someone who would say the quiet part out loud. They wanted someone who would promise to take them back to the good old days when they could oppress without consequence. And God said, you want that? Fine, here he is. Now watch what happens. Look at Deuteronomy chapter 28. This is the chapter of blessings and curses. This is where God lays out exactly what happens to nations that obey him and nations that rebel against him. Starting at verse 15, God describes the curses that will come upon a disobedient nation. And listen carefully to verse 28. The Lord will strike you with madness and confusion of mind. Madness and confusion. Does that not perfectly describe American politics right now? Does that not perfectly capture the chaos of the Trump era? White America is groping in broad daylight like blind people.
You may see it as a movie, but I see it as life. Some people will always choose to be victims. Some people will always choose to be people pleasers. Some people will always choose to stay around people who don't mean them any good. Some people will always choose to be depressed. Some people will always choose to do anything to be loved. Some people will always choose to do anything to be accepted. Some people will always choose to do the same bad things, expecting different results. But as for me, I know that in life, I have choices. I want to get ahead the right way. I had to do the work. Isolation was a must. Many fail right there because they can't be by themselves. I spent 3 years no contact with family or so-called friends. Even before that, I had cut many people off. I was in contact with myself and God. I cut off dead weight. Dead weight are people who I know show me fake love. These are people that will gladly be around for my ups, but disappeared when I was down. I left people, places, and things behind. Everyone will not make it with me. I healed my inner child. I had to do the spiritual work that they don't teach in church. When I get to the level that I know I will get to, all I will hear is how fake I am. Why? Because of how I won't accept people back into my life. I will make everyone who is wrong stand on business, repaying them with the energy of I don't give a fuck. This day will come. I don't keep people around me who are cool with people whom I don't associate with. I won't keep people around me who keep in contact with people I don't vibe with. Fuck all that we family, we've been knowing each other for years, and all that fake phony bullshit. Everyone will stay where they are with me. If we are not speaking, don't even expect a SOS signal. You knew a past version of me. I am definitely not the same. When I act brand new, it's because I am brand new, and I don't want you. I love The Devils Wear Prada. I have learned so many lessons from this movie. I had to be Andy. I have been Nigel. I had to be Emily. Baby, I even been the driver. Uber and Lyft days. In order to get to my quote-unquote Miranda Priestley chapter. Just know that we all had choices in life, that landed us where we will end up. If someone I didn't like was to hit it big, I would be happy for them. I wouldn't ask them for nothing. Too bad we don't all think alike. I know how to say no. Us, in this case, are people who have done the work to be abundant spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. In life, I knew that if I wanted to get ahead, there were necessary choices that I had to make, and I don't regret them. I always knew that I would be successful even when I only believed in me. I never gave up on me. People see the opulence, the glitz, and the glam and will covet what I have but will not do the work nor endure what I went through to get to where I am today. I see why Jay-Z said he wouldn't loan his family $4,800. Did his family member loan him anything when he was down? This is how I think now. No guilt trip, manipulating stories will work because I truly don't give a fuck. It will be the same for me. Don't ask me for nothing. Nah, stay over there with the blueprint. I truly know what it means to be gold tried in the fire. I had my turn and made it through. All praises to the Most High. But will you? Doesn't concern me, so I'll holla. I'm telling you, it's going to be those in my family that will have the biggest problem with me. These are people who know that they did me wrong, but mad because they don't have access to my success. They will expect me to make donations to them and give to them. Forget about how they didn't believe in me until others did. Forget about how out of 9 years of me being in Minnesota, only my mom and a few aunts came twice. These people will lie and deny with their words, but their actions will tell it all. They never supported me, nor did they believe in me. They would even mock me. But now let's forget all of that and just do for us because we are family and it's the right thing to do. Bitch, fuck you, ho. Well, these motherfuckers ain't never been right. Anyone of whoever got something to say, let's compare notes. For my cousins, brothers, or sisters who will say, he don't call me, did you come see about a bitch at all? You have nothing to say, especially when I will break my neck to come see people, when I will come to Toledo. When I had all the time in the world, you played busy, so you wouldn't have to be bothered. Well, now I'm going to act the same way, but I really am busy. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Definitely appreciate your support. Thank you so much. Love you and have a good night.